You have stalwarts of the game like Carl Jr. and Pac, who have been there for more than a decade and a half. Then you've got those that rose at the beginning of the decade, the Mimes, the Modas, the Posito Pacos, and then you've got the ones, the young Turks that we like to call, that came in the last few years, such as Neon, who is going to be one key player to watch, Aaron, and they're going to be flowing up some sparks right there.
Of course, and I think also we can't help but mention Epos as well. Another player recently started within the last 3 years for Trackmania and have risen to such a high level that he could be a potential contender for the grand final. I'm excited to see what this is. This is Christmas for Trackmania. I feel like, you know, we've been building up to this moment all year, and now we get to be on the biggest stage I think we've ever seen as far as prize pool. Biggest prize pool we've ever seen. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what we have.
When I was young, I always wanted to do Christmas in the summer because I'm like, why are we only limiting this amazing moment to the winter? So I guess for Trackmania, we get a little bit of that experience as well. For those who think they know who's going to win, whether it be Carl Jr. or Epos, as Aaron just mentioned, let us know because you can be involved in your tournament pick'em. Scan that QR code and you can decide right now who you think at the end of Saturday evening is going to be lifting that trophy, putting their key into history at the Esports World Cup. We'll find out as well, and you'll be here, hopefully, to see if your pick was right. Of course, coming into this, the storylines are not just about the game. They are about the bigger essence of the club championship, the thread that is connecting all of the games here throughout these 7 weeks in Paris. And we've got Chris Dunn standing by, and I believe Rachel as well, who will be helping us tell those stories.
Yes, guys, very excited for this one. Love that Trackmania is here, making its debut at the EWC this year. Chris was here last year, didn't get to see that. I was here last year, didn't get to see it. So we're loving that it is here. And I think the players are loving it as well, because it's probably the biggest tournament they will have ever played.
Ever.
Period. A lot of them haven't played LAN tournaments. A couple have, and we'll mention a couple of those, like the likes of Mudder. He won a LAN event earlier this year, so he has the experience and knows what it takes to win here in person. But that is going to add another dimension. Are the nerves going to come into play? We're going to be very excited to see how all these players get on. And then we've got some new kids on the blocks. Maybe we talk about the likes of Binks. He's obviously leading the Elite Cup standings at the moment. He's been a dominant force on the scene. But then we look to the other side. We look to the older players. Can I say older, Chris? Veterans?
They're still probably younger than us, Rachel, in fairness.
No, it's not about age, okay? The likes of maybe Massa and Carl Jr. Those guys know what it takes. They've been around the scene for so many years now, and that's my job, really. I'm going to go and speak to all of these players, get the lowdown, see how they're feeling, and bring you all the great stories. I've mentioned a couple of players, and I know you want to continue talking about them.
Yeah, I mean, realistically for us, we're looking at Falcons and AGAL, so we're looking at Binks, and we're looking at Carl Jr. These are the two big names that we are going to be keeping an eye on. The Club Championship is so close at the top end of things between these two squads, so realistically, we need to see big points coming up from both of them. That's the big storyline. We've got Vitality in the mix there as well, who are maybe going to upset the odds. Big storylines in Trackmania, though. Trackmania is the game that a lot of people think the Club Championship is going to be decided on, so let's see if that's going to be the case.
It's difficult, isn't it, for these players as well? The fact that they've waited and watched 6 weeks of EWC, and now it all comes down to them. Pressure on, and maybe their first LAN.
Yeah, maybe let's see what happens for them. It's really tough for them, but yeah, it's going to be interesting.
That's really tough. Nerves are going to play out for sure. We're going to go over to stage one now and get you all the lowdown. Come on, Chris, let's go this way. Come on.
I'll go with you.
Come on, you've got to come with me.
I love it. Rachel Stringer keeping Chris Dunn in line and taking him over to the stage. We'll have more updates as we continue throughout this day and throughout the days that we're here at Trackmania. Of course, we do have a leaderboard as well that we'll be throwing up and talking about soon, but just AGAL Falcons. That to me is the biggest thing with our Aramco Club Championship leaderboard coming up. You know, you look at Carl Jr. and he's a world champion, but pressure of land, pressure of the biggest Trackmania prize pool we've ever seen, and now pressure to win a $7 million first place for Falcons.
Yeah, pressure to add points in the bank to Falcons, and also one thing he has to count into a factor as well, he's the only representative of Falcons engaged in Trackmania. AGAL have got 2 chips in the game, Gwen and Binks, who could definitely do some damage here.
Yeah, and Binks obviously an Elite Cup winner, but also Gwen coming in. He's French. He speaks the language. He feels comfortable in Paris, Aaron. So that's going to be a positive for him.
I mean, home advantage for Gwen and Binks for sure, as well as several other French players that are here for Esports World Cup as well. I think definitely AJL is going to be the one to watch. Of course, yes, we have Carl, the 6-time world champion. He's defending his title, all the pressure that goes with that. But we have such a close race in this club championship with AJL just right on our heels.
Well, of course, the team in the lead currently, they've swapped places a couple times, is Falcons. Chris Dunn had a chance to catch up with Jordan Savelli to talk about this final week that could decide the millions and the first place.
Guys, I'm with Jordan Savelli, Global Director of Esports for Team Falcons. We were just having a chat off camera about, Falcons and how things have been going, but maybe a little bit more stressful than you would have wanted it to be heading into the last week.
Yeah, definitely more stressful. I mean, probably good for the viewer and so on, but for us, it has been a stressful year. We have so many contender, I would say, this year, so it's just we have to wait until the last moment to know who will win.
It's been good for the competition from an outside's perspective to see guys really competing with you. Team Liquid not being one of those teams this year, of course, that have typically been the ones who have been really pushing you, but it's AGL this year. How you feel like they've done? I mean, again, we kind of seen them as the dark horse coming in. You guys had a bit more of an expectation from them, though. Yeah,
to be honest, they're here from the first year and investing quite well at the beginning, and then more, and this year really more. And in my opinion, they were one of the top 3, top 4 that we were expecting to be there.
Yeah.
But also we expected us to be a bit better than this.
Yeah, so let's talk about Falcons specifically then. I know there's been a couple of ups and downs throughout the championship, but heading into this week, a lot of favorites into some of the games. How are you guys feeling? Nice and confident?
Confident, yes. Stressed also, not gonna lie. But yeah, we have good chance on many games. Fortnite, we have a strong duo, but AG also, Vitality also, so it's just pretty open, I would say. On Trackmania, we have Carl, a big chance for him to win, but again, no pressure. I would say there is plenty of competitor. Pac is one of them, Gwen from AG, so it's just the last week will be really intense, and we'll not forget about CS, I guess.
I know, and CS being the combination of things, I think it's more than likely we were looking at the percentages of who's going to win where. The Trackmania side of things is more percentage of a team winning it here. That's going to be a big bearing on things. Obviously, us covering Trackmania, it's going to be really interesting. But thank you very much for the chat.
Thank you.
Good luck to Falcons. Thanks. We're going to keep an eye on it all the way through. It may well go down to the wire, though, with Falcons currently leading. Let's see if that's still going to be the case by the end of the week.
Thank you, Chris. I love how Jordan spoke about the expectations maybe falling a little short of what they anticipated, but still 300 points in the lead over AGAL. We'll keep you up to date with that story. Rachel Stringer, Chris Stein going to be following along, and also Rachel talking with some of our players too. So everyone's got double duty over here. They are going to be working hard to tell everybody at home what is going on. It is a big race, and it's probably the most exciting way to finish EWC. Heading into this week, though, for Trackmania, let's join into seeing our group brackets as we come forward into this week. It's going to be Group A and Group B. So I have 2 pages of brackets, 2 pages of schedules. So many players there. Pac, I mean, leading the charge as well. You see Mutta and Gwyn in that second side, the final side of it. I mean, you're shaking your hands like, whoa, that is a matchup right there.
My eyes go straight to the bottom game. Mutta, Gwen, Paco, and Baywak. This is match of the day material right there. But also, can't forget the 2 Liquid guys, Epos and Otak, both in the same match. That's going to be harsh as well to start the day off.
Yeah, you talk about Binks and his representation of AGAL is going up against Wosal's got a great opportunity to really take advantage of that Gen G relationship and move forward. On the flip side, we've got another bracket here to show you, so we'll move on to that. And Aaron, I mean, you talk about Carl Jr. He says no pressure. I just don't believe it. I mean, I don't believe it.
There is pressure,
There's a lot of pressure.
Carl is an individual who has been able to maintain his cool and his tempo throughout any competition that he has. That is why he is the 6-time world champion. He is going to be tested in such a grandiose matter, though, for this tournament. There's a lot more on the line than previous tournaments. This is going to be something we'll have to watch out for. But I look at these other matches. I look at match 2, Elkan Massa and Wizzy Spark. I think that is going to be one of the most competitive matches we're going to see from this group today.
Yeah, and let's tell you how they're going to show up for you on your feed today. You might be tuning in and saying, well, I'm ready to watch some Trackmania. I may not be here later, or I might, have time later, but I'm excited that this is going on. Our first matchup, it's going to be Brand Nako, Neon, 17 years old, and J-Swag going to be going up first on the stage with Group B, Match B4 taking place. As you see, we'll alternate Group A and Group B, and then towards the end, let's take a look at that second page. You will see maybe at least what you are calling, G-Geek, the most anticipated matchup, Mutta and Gwen, Paco, and Baywak to close out our day.
Yeah, this is going to be one heck of a matchup, but also Carl, Mime, Richie, and Flimsy at the top of the page at 17:30 for Group B, B1. Carl and Mime have a bit of history together. They met against each other in the 2022 Trackmania World Cup final. Mime gave him a run for his money, was 1 corner away from winning the championship until he slid out on ice, lost all the grip, allowing Carl Jr. to take his 5th world title that day.
That's going to be an exciting one to see those two go and battle in the middle of the day. We'll change out our casting pairs as well. We have a lot of talent here ready to go. The stage almost ready to introduce the players, but before we do that, let's circle in on our very first matchup of the day. And there's no way you could have guessed because we just showed you like 2,000 matchups there, and that's okay. That's what we're doing in Trackmania. Bryn, Nako, Neon, J-Swag, Import. What are we feeling about this one? Top level.
Oh, man, I think this is going to be the Bren show for sure in many regards. I think many expect him to continue on through this with his success, not only in very competitive events, but also outside and more RPG element-esque events like Deep Dip and whatnot. He is probably, he is the most winningest money-wise player in Trackmania from my understanding.
Wow.
So he's definitely got a lot of pressure on his shoulders as well to perform. But we have other players as well, like Nako. We have, yes, Nako as well, who is going to be performing, I think, pretty well. I think he's going to be somewhat of a dark horse, but we're going to be able to see how it goes. J-Swag, of course, coming in here, I think he has a little bit of something up his sleeve potentially coming in. So.
Okay, G-Geek, how we feeling about this?
And there's another driver that comes in on the screen right now. It's Neon. I would say that Niko and Neon are going to be in a battle for second place, kind of pre-shooting this a little bit.
Okay.
They are both participating in their first World Cup, but Niko has been in the same training group as another competitor that we'll get to see later on in the day, Epos, and he has slightly more experience than Neon when it comes to playing in front of a crowd, and I think that's going to be playing a big part, especially here on Game 1 in Day 1.
If you are a part of Trackmania and having joined you guys for these last couple of days talking about these player stories, it seems like Epos is a name that you would know immediately when it's said. We saw him over dinner at the cafeteria, and he was talking about playing some of the best that he's Trackmania that he's played, and he remembers just being so locked in, ready for this. Is that kind of scary, and especially with Nako being a training partner? Is that something you're looking out for? Both of them just coming into this so prepared?
I think in terms of Nako's perspective, I think he's happy to be in a group like that, to have the opportunity to learn from somebody who is considered one of the more talented players of the scene.
Yeah.
As far as Epos is concerned, he did say he feels the most confident he's ever felt. He feels the most trained that he's ever felt. I hope that is the case for him. Sure. I do believe he has some of the highest highs that a player can ever reach, especially for somebody who is not considered the old guard of Trackmania. I think he definitely has something to show here, and I think this is his moment, and I'm excited to see how he performs going through the tournament.
We've talked about the battle for P2, P3, P4, but P1, it seems that these guys believe Bryn should be taking that. We want to know if he thought that himself, so we had Rachel sit down with him before the match.
Okay, I'm with Bren. First time Trackmania at EWC. How does that sound?
We're pretty grateful just to get started with. You know, we're really, really happy to be here. I am extremely happy, but I know everybody is super, super, super grateful to just be here, have the time to, you know, enjoy such a nice event. We're enjoying the player lounge. We're enjoying literally everything, and we're going to enjoy the stage. So yeah, it's pretty great.
It all comes down to the action, of course, on stage. Right now, what are those feelings like?
It's always the same thing, you know, before going on a stage, you're pretty nervous, expecting, you don't know what to expect from the other players. You don't know what to expect from yourself. So all you can do is just prepare as best as you can and then hope it clicks in the right moment. So yeah, basically I'm just nervous and hoping to play good. But I know once the first round is getting started, the nerves will just disappear, you know, like it's going to be fine.
You've played a lot of events on LAN.
Yeah.
Do you think that'll give you the edge?
I don't know if it will, but it's always a bit of a gamble with newer players because they could either really shine in LAN or be a bit nervous, and it changes the way they play and it could crash a lot more and everything. So it could definitely help me. I know what to expect in a certain way while they don't. But yeah, maybe they're going to be amazing and, you know, they're going to beat me. You never know.
How have you prepared for this event in particular? Anything different to your usual preparation?
I think the main difference for me is just to be really careful about my health in general, you know, because we spend a lot of time practicing, playing the same maps over and over again. I try to just keep a good balance, getting in the sun a little bit, cooking decent food, and just not playing nonstop. And I feel like I did it pretty good, and I'm pretty happy with how I managed the whole 6 weeks of practicing, yeah.
So you're a bit of a chef. What do you like to cook? Come on, he just said he
of a chef.
Cooks decent food.
Hey, you know what? I'm focusing a lot on sweet potato lately.
Okay.
So that's one thing, maybe.
Energy boosting food, I hear. Okay, in terms of the map, is there one that has an advantage for you? One that you're really excited to get on?
I have some favorite maps. The main thing is that I don't have least favorite maps.
Okay.
You know, I could play any map, and that's the biggest point for me. Sometimes I join an event and there's one map that I don't feel like playing. This time I know I can be good on the 10 maps, and that's the most important thing for me right now.
Where's your biggest competition coming from, do you think?
In this match specifically, I would say the biggest question mark is going to be Neon. He's only 17 years old, first LAN event. I know he's really talented. He plays really, really good. I don't know what to expect from him. I know he can drive really, really fast, probably faster than me. But now it's going to depend on consistency and if he can do it every single round, basically.
Finally, have you set yourself a target, a goal for EWC?
I mean, obviously, I want to win. I'm here to try and win. I'd be happy with some other results depending on how the bracket goes, you know. So I think the main point is for me to be proud of myself, play the best I can, and if I lose to stronger than me, then so be it, you know. But hopefully, if I play my best game, I can win the tournament. Who knows?
Is there one fun fact as well that we don't know about you that everyone at home should know? We know now you like to cook. You've got no weak maps. Anything else?
I'm going to keep it outside of Trackmania, but maybe some people don't know, but I surf a lot. And that's where I find my balance outside of cooking then.
Such a cool dude, a surfer as well, Brent. Good luck.
Thank you.
Living in Australia.
You know, I asked the question, where is he surfing? I had my sister-in-law actually came here and visited, and she went surfing in Bordeaux, which was like a 4 or 5 hour journey, 3.5 hour train and then an hour and a half bus. But I was like, wow, I'm a California guy. I think we kind of own the surf, and then I'm seeing France get it, so that's awesome to see. But Brent obviously feeling excited, feeling very competitive. One thing I noted, G-Geek, was he didn't have a map that he felt he didn't want to play, which shows he's very prepared.
Yeah, very prepared, feeling very much versatile across the entirety of the map pack, which is very important, especially considering the fact that some of those maps that we will get into, of course, later on during the day, they are brand new. They've been introduced nearly a month and a half ago. The other ones, the oldest ones, have been introduced back in April of this year. There is a little bit more data to work off of. The other ones, at this level, people tend to keep their cards close to their chest.
Yeah.
They don't want to reveal the strats. So everybody kind of goes in blind with their own training groups, sometimes in scrims as well. But it will be very interesting to see how the rubber meets the road, proverbially and literally, when come race day.
Exactly. It was a very appropriate statement. And Import, I mean, to me, the most interesting part about this, if you're just joining Trackmania Esports, is kind of no one knows what to expect. They haven't seen these maps. They haven't seen everybody else's time. They're going in blind, so there's a lot of questions like, hey, I got to be ready that someone shows up and does something that I wasn't prepared for.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a situation of the proof is in the pudding. It's what you're going to see as the matches unfold, as things go on. I think definitely times have been hidden and held by the players close to their chest, not necessarily completely against everybody, because of course we know that there's been training groups and whatnot, but there's definitely some things, some lines we might see that might be interesting, some different situations we might find across a couple of these maps. But I'm excited to see what we're getting into here as we get into the countdown.
It's going to be a fun time here in Paris. And again, fireworks on the Lenovo Legion Gauntlet. A brand new moment for Trackmania in their history. The biggest prize pool of all time. $130K for the winner. Gentlemen, it's time to start your engines and begin.
Stellina Padellina. Terre Tom. Rickshaw Tuktukini.
పైసలు కట్టిన ఏం कोई बात नहीं उसने
Bon matin, bonjour et bonsoir, wherever you're watching from around the globe right now.
कहाँ से
Welcome
उसने
back to the
भाई?
Esports World Cup live here in Paris. It's great to have you here with us once again for our final week of this competition where Trackmania enters the main stage. How are we doing, Paris?
वालेकुम
Oh, I love it. Love to see this. It's good to have you guys here. We have got ourselves an incredible competition. 32 players, $500,000 on the line at the end of this competition. One player with the very first ever in EWC history to be the Trackmania champion. It's massive. The hype is real. This is going to be absolutely brilliant. You guys have a front row seat. My name is Adam Savage. This is the magnificent, the mighty Milos.
Well, my friend, it has been an incredible set of weeks that we've had here at the Esports World Cup. Week 7, as you just heard, and this is Trackmania, the biggest tournament in the game's history. A boatload of cash, and I can tell you, there's a lot of bragging rights that are going to be earned at the end of all of this once we're done on Saturday night. 32 players are going to walk in. Only one will be successful in clinching this trophy by the end of it all. And I think we should say hello to all of them before we get started.
We should do. Paris, they're all waiting backstage. Let them hear you. Make some noise for our players. That's right, love to see it. Let's meet them. First up, please welcome to the stage, it's Staffed! Godlike Esports, the penultimate player here to qualify in Europe. He's ready now to take on the world.
Next up, it's Neon! At 16, he's our youngest here, rising up the ranks. Full of bright lights, ready to take on the Giants.
Next, it's Bywag! From Sentinels, he's a regional qualifier from New Zealand, vying to become Lord of the Ring Roads.
Joining us on stage, it's Richie, 1308, booking the final spot into the hotly contested European quals. Next up, this main stage.
Welcome to the stage, Josh, 1248. The full speed specialist. Josh eats boosters for breakfast and breaks for nobody.
Up next is Linkmax, returning to Trackmania only to win the Asia Host qualifiers. First time competing abroad here in Paris.
Paris, welcome Lingo! Godlike Esports, please welcome the North American #2 and out of the blue runner-up 2025.
Representing Team RRQ, it's Semko, rolling in as champion from the regional qualifier of MENA, a region he's always been a front runner of.
Make some noise for J-Swag from Fnatic, our third place regional qualifier from Asia and Oceania. Toss him an apron because he's ready to cook.
From Virtus Pro is Pusito Paco, winner of the European qualifier. He has achieved this complete form. Can he hit it super perfect at EWC?
Next, it's Charles, Titan Esports, South America's #1 player. It's time for the region's king to turn up the heat.
From Genji Esports, it's Wosile, 8th at DreamHack Birmingham to get his ticket for EWC. Can he stand with the best here?
Next up, we have ourselves Nako from Foot Esports. A new talent stepping up to the pro scene in 26. Could this be the dawn of the underdog?
From Leviathan, it's Noiza, multi-time South American champion, his legend. He is one of the leading players from the region and a challenger to keep your eyes on.
Welcome, Afi, a returnee to the esports scene. Will he pick up where he left off and glide into the sunset as champion?
Representing Rock Esports, it's Mona, a past year full of success. Steering wheel player seems like a solid contender for this trophy's EWC.
It's Spark! SAUL Esports, the best player from India. He'll aim to use his speed to electrify the circle.
Representing Twisted Minds, it's Bren! The 2023 World Champion graces our stage, hungry for yet another gigantic trophy.
Please welcome to the stage, Neo from SAUL Esports, finishing first in the NA qualifier, Neil is primed with turbo and ready to upset as well.
From Natos Vincere, it's Mime! He might have been quiet in 2026, but he's got some moves you are absolutely not ready to see.
With some moves too, it's Flimsy! From Team Heretics, qualifying third from North America. Can he turn up the heat on his opponents to rise atop the podium?
Representing AGAL, it's Gwen! 18 years of playing Trackmania makes you a prodigy. Maybe this one, he'll be ready to win it all in gold in Paris.
Next, please welcome Elcon21! Team Nemesis winner at Comic-Con Baltics and Out of the Blue 2025. There is no one more ready to dispatch the competition.
Representing Big, it's Massa! Veteran of the scene, one of the most experienced players on land. EWC is his biggest stage yet.
Stand to attention for Soldier! The former Trackmania Grand League winner 2023 returns, eager for battle, his sights locked on gold.
Also representing Big, it's Grenadi! The OG wheelman is in the driver's seat, earning his spot with a third-place finish at DreamHack Birmingham, joining us in Paris.
Entering the stage is Esports! DreamHack Team Liquid, two-time XP Evo winner 24 and 25. Get ready for impact because the Meteor is on his way.
Representing SAUL Esports, it's Wizzy! From national level karting to the digital track through third place in EU Quals, all the way to the group stage in Paris.
Oh my gosh, it's Otad from Team Liquid,
your
world champion in 2023. He's no stranger to big events and will relish this chance to shine again.
Next up, representing the hometown heroes of Vitality, it's Pac.
low soul pressure कैसे
Winner of DreamHack Birmingham is no stranger to gauntlet comeback runs. His stamina by proof key right here on stage.
Make some noise for Big!
यार मैं बहावल नगर से हूँ कहाँ से
The Elite Cup qualifier, he's got big aspirations and even bigger expectations.
Last but not least, representing Team Falcons, it's Cole Jr. The undisputed GOAT and 7-time world champion, Carl is the truest a Trackmania dynasty can be, an opponent that makes you weak at the knees.
My oh my, Paris, one more time, give it up for your players.
सब मजे कर मैं लगा उसने
32 of the best Trackmania players have made it here to the stage in Paris. A lot of pressure on them all. The biggest tournament in the history of Trackmania is unfolding before our eyes. Matches beginning and our group stage. Let's get this one on!
हाँ जी
Looks like this. 20 years after Trackmania helped shape competitive gaming, it's now arriving on esports' biggest stage. 32 of the best players from across the globe have earned their place here, competing for a prize pool of $500,000, the biggest in Trackmania history, and the title of the first EWC Trackmania champion. Throughout the 4-day competition, the players need to prove their speed, precision, and nerves, pushing themselves to the absolute limit. Taking on 10 unique country-themed maps representing 10 countries, 10 maps, 10 different challenges, each one with their own story. Argentina
can be slightly random at times.
Australia.
Fast, unforgiving, hard to control.
Canada.
Fast, intense, and nerve-wracking.
Germany.
Precision, backwoods driving, and pace.
Hungary.
Difficult, technical, and very tight.
Japan.
NASCAR.
It's really challenging. It will be difficult.
Norway.
Disaster.
Annoying. Unforgiving.
Poland.
Competitive.
Jumps.
Tricky.
Saudi Arabia.
Jumps. Visual cue.
It's my permaban.
South Korea.
Aléatoire, précision et glider.
So buckle up, Trackmania fans. 32 players, only one champion.
The stage is set. The maps are ready.
Now, let's find out who is the fastest.
The journey to discover who is the fastest in Paris, and also the moment, the occasion, the gravity of it has to not be understated. This is the biggest event that we have seen in Trackmania history. It's also the biggest opportunity to cement your legacy or begin a new chapter in the history of this esport, which has been etched across the last 20 years, the last 2 decades.
Yeah, last 2 decades have been full of drama, energetic moments as well, and this year's going to be no different. And the road ahead is long because on each match in cup mode, 140 points till finalists, 4 rounds per map. The maps are really short in each of the rotation, which gives us a little bit of an insight to pick and ban. If you are first and second seed, you're determining, Aaron, both the first 2 maps as well as the last 2 maps.
There's not only the advantage, but also just the atmosphere right now. You can feel it in the air just a little bit. The tension slowly rising as we begin our first match into the pick and ban and then also into the first rounds. I am excited. Again, I'll say it again. Christmas for Trackmania. The most insane matches you could ever see in Trackmania happening here at this place. The folks who are here live, in for a treat. The folks at home, also in for a treat. But already the atmosphere, I can feel it. I can feel the excitement. The anticipation it's tangible. I can feel it. Tingles.
Yeah, I could feel it too. It's always something special, but day ones aren't always like this. I feel this is a different day one. This is a big moment. You could tell from the crowd, the way that they've reacted. You could also tell from the players, the way that they're nervous. It didn't go without noticing for me, disaster. The word that Carl Jr. used for Norway. What are we looking at when some of these bans? What are some of the anticipations before we get into it on our screen of what you're expecting, Jiggy?
According to some of the information that I was able to gather before the start of the day, Australia and Norway are going to be among the maps that will be the most banned.
Was that surprising to you?
Even for me, I was a bit surprised because there is another map that was described in there, Japan.
Yeah.
Extremely difficult with how tight the lineups are, and that third sector, Aaron, in Japan is just diabolical. That's no other word for it.
Japan also may just grab bans because I know from Carl and his initial experience with Japan, he said he liked the map a lot. Maybe some of the players are going to pay attention to that when we get to that match in the future. But what I also think is Norway, it's so ice heavy. There's so many things going on with Norway. I think it's kind of a given that it would be a ban. Argentina as well, very bobsleigh heavy. Yep. That's not a typical thing you would find in competitive Trackmania. And so you're going to have a general dislike from the player base for that. And yeah, I mean, as far Australia is kind of a surprise to me. It was played quite a bit during qualifiers. It was played quite a bit when it was available. So I'm generally kind of surprised by that.
I was also a bit surprised by that because Argentina is arguably a harder map to really get consistently at a very consistent pace to fight with these guys on the regular than Australia is. Australia, we used to call it the Heart Attack Generator 3000, but there is a certain strategy that you can pick up in terms of the lineups for navigating from one camber to another on the plastic that really makes it easy. So yeah, I'm kind of curious to see if that sort of preliminary estimate is definitely going to be coming into play.
One of the things about this group is Bren stands out as a clear P1, but you mentioned the dark horses, the Nako, the Neon, the questions of the youth and how that shows up as these map bans start getting underway. Guys, the dynamic not just on the track, but of the players who are competing as well.
Yeah, already seeing Australia and Norway as the bans as predicted. So yeah, kind of a shocker to me and G-Geek, I feel like, with Australia, but Norway making sense. Germany and South Korea also being banned. I feel like those were played quite a bit and kind of shocking to see those. Japan being the first pick from Bren, actually, which, I mean, it could be one of those things where maybe some false information was given. So we don't think their strats right away. I think Japan could be something that's going to be very fun to watch because it's going to be so little room. Saudi Arabia is going to be interesting because that's going to be a purely pace map, I feel like.
Yeah, purely pace map plus, and also now moving on to Argentina with the bobsleigh making its first, well, I'd say first appearance in that map pack, unless there was a bobsleigh in Saudi Arabia. The memory can be a bit hazy because there's 10 maps to remember. Then, of course, we see Hungary picked as map 4 by J-Swag, the shortest map in the entire map pack, very technical, very pace-heavy as well. And then Poland as a decider. This is going to be interesting. Bit more mini RPG-esque elements with lots of transitions from small platforms to small platforms. A little bit of an underwater part as well that we'll get to see as well that can wreak havoc.
So, we've got the bands, we've got the players. Expectations here as we are about to begin our first showcase at EWC.
How about I pick a player and G-Geek pick another player? I'm going to go ahead and go with the easy version here. I think I'm going to pick Bren to go through this match. I think it's pretty stated from him. He feels confident. He's okay with how his performance happens. He feels confident on all the maps, and even at the end of the day, it doesn't seem like he's going to be too bothered by mistakes or pressure. Well, we hope anyways. That's
हाँ
what he
जी
says in the
sending
initial.
करेंगे
We'll
आपका
see how
level
it
5
actually
हो
turns
जाएगा
out in the
फिर आप आ
match.
सकते हैं
I would pick Nyko to go through preliminarily. It's a very tight race between Nyko and Neon. Both very, very fast drivers. Arguably Neon a lot faster than Nyko, but Neon also a little bit of a momentum-based guy. If there is one single grain of sand that kind of somewhat unsettles him, it can very much throw off his entire momentum, and Nyko could definitely take advantage of that. And remember, a lot more stage experience for Nyko compared to Neon that definitely could come into play. So I'm picking Nyko as the second man to go through.
Interesting to see the way that Neon, I think, banned out Norway, also picked Argentina. Feels like there's maybe some confidence in youth and understanding these are difficult maps. I don't want to play on one, but I want to play on the other because I think I can have the edge. He knows that he's in that battle for most likely P2, but a gentleman we haven't mentioned, J-Swag. I mean, he comes in wearing the Fnatic jersey. He's on your screen right now. This is somebody that we aren't counting in those first two positions. What does he have to do, G-Geek, to change everybody's mind and get the result he's looking for to move on?
He has got a mountain to climb, even steeper than Pikes Peak hill climb at this point. He's definitely coming in as his first ever World Cup and first ever international event as well. Playing against the caliber of players such as Neon and Bren and Nyko, it's going to be one tough ordeal. The main thing for him is going to be stay in his own race, try to not make too many mistakes. Some of the mistakes from other players will come to him, allowing him to try to get points on the board, try to limit the damage, most likely.
Yeah, I think also for J-Swag as well, he has also kind of Oceania
Oh,
on his
are you
back.
hot,
Normally it's
brother?
Mudda that we talk
Well,
about.
thanks
It's
for
always
follow,
Mudda
brother.
coming from Australia, being able to carry that region. We have now multiple individuals that have the potential to make a name for themselves here and to be able to carry that torch themselves. There's an opportunity for
बच्चे
J-Swag.
लगता है मुझे
Doesn't mean we're
ट्यूशन
necessarily
पढ़ने आए हैं और
counting him
मैडम ने
out, but
इनको
it definitely
सामने बिठा
means that
दिया
he has something to prove and he has the ability to mess up everything for everybody.
Well, these four players begin what will be a gauntlet of a day here in Paris. 8 different matches. So if you're here at the beginning, well, there's plenty more Trackmania for you to enjoy. We're going to kick things off with Japan, a map that many thought would be banned coming into this, but now it will be our first pick. And I know our casters are excited and ready to get going. Let's kick off your EWC for Trackmania and send it over to Nua and Twiggy.
Merci beaucoup, les gars, and welcome to the first match of EWC. I'm Nulek, joined by Twiggy, and we are very excited. A long day, not just today, but a long week. 27 matches to go before, Twiggy, we ultimately crown a Trackmania champion at EWC for the first time.
It feels like it's been a long time coming
It
as
does.
well. You know, the lead up to this, I think everybody involved, all the players who qualified for this one, we have it just felt the energy rise and rise and rise. And we're finally here. I mean, that opening ceremony, I think set the tone nice.
Yes, oh my lord, seeing all the players up on stage, seeing them all line, I mean, so cool seeing them
ऐसे में
all
लाइव
line
छोड़
up.
के
Some
जा
faces
सकता
we
हूँ
have never
तो
seen
यार
before,
पीके
who have not been at lands before. Some very, very familiar faces as well. And Twiggy,
मैं
no more
बोतल
time to
लेके
talk about
आता
that.
हूँ
We
यार
are underway already. First time on Japan, straight into the backflip.
Welcome to Trackmania, everybody.
ये तो पीके में वार्निंग आ गई थी पहले
Driving on the ground, we don't do that here.
तो पीके में था पता नहीं ऐसे ही था वार्निंग आ
A
गई
lot of crashing a lot of the time
Sure.
as well, but not into each other. We're friendly.
Absolutely. Time trial style of gameplay on this one. None of the cars interact with each other, which really just means it is all about that focus. Who can drive their times in practice the best? That, for our new viewers, is something you want to avoid as much as possible, as that will end up being Neon. Spiraling down the rankings here in round one, it is Bren from Nako, and honestly, maybe something we expect to see throughout this match. Bren out in front.
I mean, look, it was talked to ad infinitum there on the desk is how much they expect Bren to be the player out ahead. It's going to be that battle between Nako and Neon in second place. J-Swag, you know, looking for whatever he can get out of this one. But look, it is as we expect here in the first round. Yet to warm up a lot of these players. We are going to see this change over the course of the day, and one mistake can change the course of a round. Just like so, Bren does not make it through the checkpoint. Over goes Nako, and Bren finishes out in 4th position. That's not how you want to start off EWC.
That's not how the French crowd wants to see EWC start off for the Trackmania. Their hometown hero, Bren, for sure, in this one. Loved by the French crowd, despite the fact that he moved to Australia a couple of years ago. They still claim him for their own. And that'll be an unexpected start, let's call it, for Bren on that one. A big crash on the identity, that final part, the difficult end to the track. And Bren a little bit behind Neon to start this round off as well. Still looking to settle into the match.
Yeah, look, we're going to be talking a lot about identities over the course of the next 4 days. Just what the map is known for. The most difficult part of the map
a lot of the time. Sometimes it can be at the end of the map, sometimes it's all throughout the map. Here on Japan, you got plenty of those no break zones where you just do have to go for it and you're not allowed to do much else other than just find your way through the checkpoint. Sorry, no engine zone.
Yes, that's, as you can hear, we go through it there. The engines turn off and the players have to drive precisely through those gates in order to make sure they don't lose all their speed, because you cannot get the car going once it stops in those sections. Solid round from Neon so far, who's way out in front, nearly half a second between him and the rest of the field. Nako now overtaking Bren, but Bren with a good exit from this corner will be gaining speed, looking to come back at Niko, and both of them catching Neon at this point.
It's going to be real tight at the end here. Bren overtakes, and goes straight into first position, but still hot on the heels here. It's Nako. He gets his second round in a row. It is a perfect
Your live stream has been unattended for
well, I mean, we were saying looking for second place out of this one. If you can get first, that's even better.
Absolutely. I mean, it's going to, as we advance through this group stage as well, you know, those first places, you get to play against second seeds. And that is theoretically a little bit easier come the following rounds. 20 points from 20 for Nako so far, and also a new tournament record. We're going to be seeing that update.
मेरी पहले ब्रॉड बंदी इसलिए हुई थी कि साइड पे था मैं.
As well, a 1:16.4.
It is.
We will see it get a little closer, I would say, to the world record over the course of this one, especially with the players that we have here today. I mean, look, this lobby, I wouldn't even say this lobby is really well known for having the fastest times, but they're a more consistent group of players. Maybe, you know, obviously after those 2 rounds, maybe you disagree with me, but
oh dear, there goes Nako. A little bit of a clip on the way into that engine off. Bren back up in first place, looking for a clean round. Another touch from Nako, and J-Swag promoted up into second, looking for his best round finish so far in the match.
Yeah, J-Swag so far struggling to keep up with the group here, but in second place as we move into the NASCAR turn, whether you want to call it that or not. It is just one turn where you're not braking. It's really not the end of the world there, and J-Swag maintains second position. Nako hot on the heels and really has capitalized off of mistakes or maybe a bit too much tentativeness coming into the final part of the track here. Nako has so much speed going through, overtakes into second place. It's neck and neck at the finish line, but it's J-Swag for Fnatic who comes up in first place this time around, and Bren again misses out on another first.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's consistency on this identity starting to punish Bren. Let's not forget, this is Bren's map pick.
Yeah.
Came in as the highest ranked seed into the match, got that first map pick, picked Japan, a map we as casters were maybe not expecting to see a huge amount of, kind of expecting to see it banned away a lot this tournament. Bren took us here. Bren has now crashed twice and lost huge points because of it. I mean, only got away with not coming fourth that time because Neon DNF. I think that's worth talking about as well. 0 points for the DNF, not even getting the 3 points that you normally get for coming forward. And maybe some of that youth, that stress, the pressure affecting Neon, who is at least now leading this round.
Of course. Look, it is a new it's a new position for I think every player, whether you've been playing at LANs or not. The stage here is a lot different to what a lot of these players are expecting. That opening ceremony, I feel like, probably worked up the nerves just a little bit for them here. And look, it's going to take a little bit to get going into the game and find your form, and especially for a player like Bren, that peak of the mountain is so high that we could just see it absolutely over the course of the game here. Currently in second place, eyeing up Neon, taking more speed through that section there. Good exit speed as well. All it's going to take is a little bit too much slowing down here from Neon, a little bit too much braking, but it's calm and collected from Bren as well. He wants second place. He does not want to risk this one, and Neon will sail through into first. It is a 1:15.6, an absolutely blistering pace to start things off here. J-Swag in second. Bren has crashed again.
Yep. That's brutal. That was a new world record, by the way, I believe, coming through up at the front there. But we saw it. The camera pulls back. Bren momentarily goes off screen, and he never came back. 3 crashes, I believe, in the identity. In 4 rounds.
The final part of the identity as well. It's the scariest bit as well. It doesn't seem like he's taking too much speed into that section either. He is actually trying to keep it relatively calm, relatively collected, and not go too hard in that final turn, but it just never works out for him.
Yeah, absolutely. As we jump into a replay here, looking at what happened in one of these rounds, as I believe this is the round where Bren just about lost out to Nako at the line. Well, we get back here anyway. We're jumping all over the place. You love the backflip, slow-mo.
Look, the new viewers just want to see the fancy, the fancy flips, you know.
Cool.
It's
I kind of get it.
And the cool skins.
Yeah.
Custom skins for the teams here.
Absolutely. As we are already onto our second track. We move now to Saudi Arabia, moving at a blistering pace through this one. And Well, second track, we'll get ready to take you through this one as we're looking for maybe a little bit more consistency from Bren, maybe J-Swag to step up in this one. He's already hanging off the back wheels of Neon and Bren in our first round on Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, and this one, I think as a lot of players were saying, it's just jumps, 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 jumps. As much speed as you can take forward into the next part here, as low as you can go as well. Obviously, minimizing airtime is the name of the game, which, you know, in a map that is all jumps is, maybe that seems counterintuitive, but the longer your wheels are on the ground, the better.
Yes, absolutely. And at the moment, I mean, it's Bren and Neon doing an incredible job of that. The 16-year-old really pushing Bren. J-Swag will head directly into a pole on that one as Bren is starting to get a little bit of an advantage. He stays under it, does Neon, but he will lose a lot of speed as a result. Neko overtaking into second place. Bren pulling away into the distance. Couple of jumps left to go on this one. Bren will nail that one. Neko cracks on out. Neon looking to take second place as Bren sails off into a clear first. Takes a new world record in our first round of live competition on the track.
Yeah, of course. I think as the desk was talking about a little bit as well, the players don't like to show their world records. You can play these maps offline and therefore not online DRM your way into showing your world records here. So we will see a few world records come through as well that aren't necessarily the players' fastest times. However, if you see that come up, it's probably a pretty good time.
Yeah, as we saw at the end of that last round, Neko not making it. Once the first car finishes, there is a finish time out, and if you do not cross the line in time, it is a DNF. So Neko, 0 points on that last round, keeping the field incredibly close. All four players still within 3 points of each other, Twiggy.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going all the way to 140. So 3 points is absolutely nothing. Zilch in terms of the whole standings for this one. The way it works, of course, it's been explained before, but you get to 140 points, you get to finalist mode once you're over 140 points, and then you have to win a round. You have to win the next round, or well, any round at that point to finish and lock in your position. And we keep going. We keep going until we get to victors here, and then those will go through to the next round as we come up to the final turn. Everybody is here. Oh, I think J-Swag has crashed out. Neko taking a little more speed, but Neon again improves that time. We're going to see another one up on the board, and Bren is struggling against these players that I don't think he expected to struggle as much against.
I mean, we saw the crashes on Japan from Bren, and they were costing him huge points, but here on Saudi Arabia, pace. Yeah, Neon and Neko is just there. Neon in particular, I know there were some question marks coming into this tournament. He's so young, he's only 16, he's not really played on a LAN environment before. How is he going to adapt to the stage? How is he going to play under these bright lights? And, well, he's warming up into it very quickly, taking away that world record immediately and looking very solid. Maybe less so in this round. He has crashed.
He's gone, but it is Bren and Neko up front, and this seemed to be the duo that seemed, you know, the most comfortable there on Japan until, of course, the very end of the track here. J-Swag right behind, but I like the drone cams we've got going on as well here. We took a look at those yesterday when we were setting up the tech on this one, and I was wondering how they were going to be implemented. So far, very tastefully.
Yeah. God, I like that line from Bren, looking very solid, trying to catch up to Neko, who is just fending him off. Only a couple of corners left to go on this track, and Bren will overtake Neko, who has clipped, has lost all his speed, is still holding on to third place, I believe, but it is going to be J-Swag looking to pick up points just there to collect them when Neko crashes out, but Bren will set a new world record. Goes faster again by about a tenth and a half, and Neon did not hold that one for long.
No, not whatsoever. Maybe Bren is starting to get into the swing of things here. I mean, look, from all of the pre-show that we talked about, you would think that Bren is invincible.
Yeah.
Completely impossible to beat. Everyone's human. And the thing is, these are such tight margins. I think when these tracks came out, when this, when the first map pack came out, which is not being played here at EWC, we're playing the second and the third map pack of this year. A lot of players were like, wow, this is very intricate. All of these maps are incredibly intricate, and we're used to identities in mixed at this point, but I think these ones specifically, there were some that were really challenging players to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that despite the fact that some of these identities are based on tracks we have seen in the past in Trackmania, still relearning them within the context of EWC has been a challenge for these players for sure, but a challenge most of them have risen to admirably based on the fact that they made it here at all. And I mean, you can see it again. Neon looking so quick on this track, might be on pace to get this world record back one more time from Bren. Our final round on Saudi Arabia for the moment. We'll be rotating back. How is this landing? Neon a little bit low. He's going to crash out. Bren through into first, and there is another round win for the hometown favorite. The Frenchman takes it down, and Neon just looking to get a finish. He may end up timing out on this one. Clock ticking down. He just crosses the line and collects those 3 points.
It is looking like Bren is starting to find some form. You just need a couple of round wins in a row to remind you how you can play here, and just lock in those lines, right? I think as soon as you get on a new computer, they brought their peripherals over here, but sometimes it's just unfamiliar situations, or you haven't warmed up for the day properly, you haven't really locked everything in yet. But with Saudi Arabia over, no chance to keep improving on that one. We're heading to Argentina, my favorite map of the pool, personally.
Absolutely, and a map that we saw some of the players a little bit iffy on in the pre-show as well. It is definitely a tricky track. This bobsleigh section on your screen at the moment, tough.
I believe the first and pretty much only word that was used was unpredictable by Pack.
Nearly random, or there's some element of randomness to it, and we will see that as we kick things off, jumping directly into the bobsleigh on Argentina. A surface I famously associate with Argentina, ice.
Yeah, of course. Exactly. No, but yeah, no grip over on that one. You just have to slide your way through here. And that's a fragile block as well. In case you clip into a corner, things are not going to be good for you, but nobody should be falling victim to that. Bren is down by several attempts at this point. We'll find it hard to keep up here unless there is a mistake, which, again, Argentina, it is very possible here as we enter this next section of the track where the players are going to have to turn around here on the bobsleigh. They've got reactor boosters. They can reverse their momentum, but it's common that players will miss that checkpoint. It's all good from everybody here. It's a great first round. Bren is right there back with everybody. Oh, and it's a clip from Nako. Sends him down into 4th position, up into the next ice turn here. Everybody holding, but Bren is pushing so hard. Keep in mind, back by 6/10 earlier on, now contending for first.
Yeah, much lower on that exit than Neon as well, looking to carry speed up this section of the track, heading towards the finish line. Pace from Neon, who is really settling into this match now.
Yeah, definitely. Look, hey, it was always going to be a dark horse kind of situation. How much can you contend when you're in games this difficult, right? The qualifiers are one thing. Getting to this stage is one thing. And coming up against everybody who also got here. Now, that's a difficult part, right? A lot of the times when you see a tournament in such a big competition, you're like, oh, well, some of them are going to be bad. Some of them are not going to be as good as the rest. No, the thing is, Trackmania, I feel like everybody on their day can really push for a victory here.
Absolutely, and hang on, let's watch as the turnaround comes up on ice just ahead, because in that last round, it looked to me like Neon was awkward entering it, but he exited with so much pace, so far ahead of everyone, has once again built that lead. It looks awkward from Neon. His entry unconventional compared to the others, but look at how he zooms out in front, following from it. The gap extending a little bit, going from about 3/10 up a little bit further on that one. He's up there to about 4/10, so Neon looking great on that turnaround. Potentially Argentina, a very, very strong map for the young driver.
Bren again pushing, but again back by a few tenths here going into the final part. Just going to have to hope that Neon can't thread the needle there in that final part of the bobsleigh, because there's no way you're going to lose out on time at this point unless you're really trying not to risk. Neon almost flips the car, but he's looking good for the setup. He's through. He's improved his time once again. 4/10 ahead of Bren's personal best here in the tournament.
That is an absolutely wild time from Neon on that one. Incredibly quick, by about 4/10 faster. Yeah. Wild. Neon looking incredible in this match. Now only a single point behind Bren, who had started to maybe pull away just a little bit, as Nako will go flicker mode for a second there, but he is still there, still driving, still looking good. And for the first time, Neon not out to an immediate lead on Argentina.
Indeed, Bren just out ahead this time, maybe realizing that you're going to have to put in the effort here on the first part of the track as well, push a little harder to contend with Neon on this one, who I think, look, when you're a player that doesn't have as many expectations coming into this one, a young gun coming into the competition, you're coming up against Bren, who is expected to do incredibly well. You can just push. If you fail, whatever, come back in the lower bracket, but if you don't, you look amazing. And right now, Neon is pushing Bren to his limit here. It's neck and neck between the two. too as we head into the dirt section, but Brent slows down just a little bit more to make sure he gets through that gap, and once again Neon out in first position.
Wheels glued to the track on that jump. Neon landed so early, and you can see the advantage you build. You're only accelerating when your wheels are on the ground. Neon pulls a little bit away and is pulled right back in. Brent still chasing. Is there time to be gained on this final bobsleigh uphill? Neon still leads. Brent, he's not losing speed, he's not losing time. He'll hold off Nako, but he will not catch Neon, who is a perfect 30 from 30 on the track he picked so far.
And all of those rounds so far have been within 0.3 of each other in terms of the time. That is robotic types of consistency. Brent had to push and did improve his own time by about 0.4 there. It was not enough to keep up with Neon, and Neon has leapfrogged Brent here in the standings for this game and is now over halfway.
Yeah, look, the desk was saying Brent and Niko, those are our favorites to make it through. Absolutely fair. But Neon was the question mark for a lot of people coming into this tournament. How is he going to perform? We know he has the pace when he's in his home setup, when he's playing on his own computer in his bedroom or his living room, where I don't know where his computer is set up. I've not been to his house, Twiggy.
I would hope
right
not.
Now, though, he is looking fantastic. All right, calm down.
Oh, J-Swag really had to push a little further than he wanted to get the checkpoint there. Sometimes you can just get a little too overzealous and completely miss out on touching the checkpoint. Neon has been very far down over the course of this whole round and really has no hope of catching up at this point. Bren will finally get an opportunity to come out in first place as long as he's able to finish his dinner here and retake that lead in the standings. But it's been tough for him here on Argentina. He's not been playing badly whatsoever. Neon has just kept him at bay the whole time. Bren will sail home to another best time from himself. Still not quite touching Neon's best times here on the track. It's a really good map for Neon there as we move further into the series.
Yeah, a little bit disappointing not to get all 4 wins on that one, given how quick the pace was. Looking honestly untouchable on pace was Neon there. But I will give credit to Neon as well. We've seen a couple of rounds where he has crashed, had bad crashes, dropped a lot of time, and has still stayed fighting, has at least managed to get in and get those 3 points for coming 4th place, even though he's multiple seconds down from the rest of the field, and that can matter. We together, Twiggy, have seen it so many times. A player gets stranded 1 point away from finalist, and that is the worst place to be in a Trackmania match. In this case, 139 out of 140 points, and you look back and you're like, well, you DNF 3 times, that's your 0 points.
Yeah, it's a hell of a lot of points to get up to, as well, as I'm sure people are starting to realize here as we go deeper into the series. We're on Hungary now. The identity tightropes at the, well, there's your first one, but there are plenty left to come as well. So precision driving, precision jumping, right? They're not just straightforward. You have to, stay straight on them. You're side jumping into them. You have to calculate your jump. You have to make sure you're not going to go over the top, because if you push too hard, you are going to sail over and have to take a safe finish, which has plenty of slow-mo blocks before, which slows your car down. I feel like that one's self-explanatory.
Well, looking at the scoreboard as well, just taking quick stock, about halfway through the match at this point. Bren still out in the lead, but it's only 79 points to Neon's 75. Clear separation between the top and the bottom of the field right now, though. 79 and 75 for Bren and Neon. Niko and J-Swag falling about 20 points behind, 59 and 57.
Yeah, Nako's going to have to really push things up a level if he wants to catch up with Neon and Bren here. Quite literally, there is Bren, who doesn't get quite as much speed as he would like going into that jump. Neon keeps it perfect. Bren almost overtakes. It's a great time from Neon, but J-Swag will come home with 2 points. That's a safe way of doing it from Nako. You have to go through 2 slow-mo blocks. It takes a lot longer than if you precisely get that jump correctly. But once again, Neon has moved back into first place.
Getting a little bit confused. The world record 59.7, but somehow the tournament record by Massa 3/10 lower than that. We'll see. That'll get sorted out. Someone will just drive fast at some point in maybe in one of these rounds. Neon again looking
right here.
Very impressive so far.
59.287.
If that's your prediction, that's a bold call. 59.267.
couldn't see it, but I did.
Yeah, you did do the 6-7, and I appreciate that.
I am 26 years old. Right, Nico and Bren up in first and second place. Wheels touching neck and neck. Bren with a little more speed heading into the next section of the track. Gets a better split, but so much exit speed from Nico here, turning around. And, well, where did Neon come from? If he gets the same amount of speed into these jumps as he did that last round, he'll overtake. Nico does not make it through. He might have to respawn on that one, I'm assuming. He will. Neon has more speed. Neon, no! He risked it all the way there. Bren manages to get it done. It wasn't quite a 59.2, but it was still a good time.
Yeah, still a 6.23. Looking good from Bren. Pace is there. Pace has been there for Bren on a lot of these tracks, but unexpectedly, maybe consistency a little bit less than what we might have expected from the Frenchman. He is still playing incredibly well so far and is still leading the match. 93 points, about to break the 100 mark. Neon and Bren both on the cusp of that. If either of them wins this round, they're the first to break 100.
Well, that's the thing. They've been trading back and forth first place over the last few rounds so many times at this point. It just feels like it is a tug of war between these two players here, and Nako and J-Swag are just left to pick up the pieces. At the back there, speaking of which, it's a touch from Nako, but it's also a touch from Bren. Sends them both back down. J-Swag is also finding a little bit of trouble getting some speed here. It's Neon out ahead once again.
Yeah, and this is one of those things. These players play with the HUD off a lot of the time. They don't know where the other cars are, but they'll be flicking it on. They know their checkpoints where it's safe to have a look. And Neon at this point should hopefully know that he's got that buffer. 5 tenths. Don't need to over-risk it at the end here. Neon, just don't crash. He won't. That's a first place for Neon, as Nako will get up into second place. J-Swag ultimately drops to fourth, as Bren will take third. And it is going to be Neon, the first to break the 100-point barrier. And I don't think that's what we were expecting pre-game.
No, 17 thousandths there stopped Bren from doing the same thing as well. So close from getting second in that round. 97 points so far. And look, a lot of the times when we are playing this format, we will stop it here at 100 points. We will say that is now Neon on finalist. He just needs to win one round here, but we're going the distance. We've got 8 games today, all of them 140 finalist games, which is a long day. And, well, look, at least for the players, they've only got to play one game. We're going to be here the whole time, but yeah, Bren out ahead this time. Neon giving him the opening, as it feels like these two players have been doing every single other round. They just open the door for your competitor to get up there. Again, it doesn't matter massively whether you come first or second place. You're still going to make it through without dropping to the lower bracket, but there's a little bit of seeding that goes on.
Neon had a mistake earlier in this round, but it's still here, still pressuring J-Swag, just quick with it is Neon at the moment. Can he get a snipe at the end there? That's a good finish from J-Swag at the moment, though. Gets a little bit too much airtime. Here comes Neon. He will pick up the second places. That was it. The smallest of openings from J-Swag. A millisecond more airtime than you want jumping onto that final beam, and Neon was there to snipe.
Neon is on fire right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely exemplary kind of gameplay here. We're heading to another map where it is similar, right? We're going for jumps onto thin platforms.
Yeah.
A lot more of them, a lot less precise, I would say. You don't have to be quite as insane. This is more of an RPG map for those who are in the know in the Trackmania community. It is Poland. For our final of the rotation, and then we're going to go back again. We're going to go straight back to the start of things to Japan here.
I mean, a little bit maybe worrying for Bren, because Japan didn't go great last time around. Maybe that's why Ben. That's why Bren picked it first, right? Like, maybe not feeling quite as comfortable on that map as some of the other ones, just making sure that it was not going to be a place where he had to try and convert finalists.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, maybe when we get back to Japan, a chance for Neon to spring all the way out in front.
It's very possible. We are getting to that point where it is close. You know, we're getting towards that 140 points, and you will be able to get started on finishing up your game here. It's so close between these two, right? And yeah, no, and they're tied for third and fourth as well here, Nako and J-Swag, but they're so many points behind already. 33 is the gulf that they have to make up to get even a chance of this one, and it's only 33 points for Neon and Bren to get to finalists, so it's an even difference to where everybody needs to be here. And it doesn't look like Neon is showing any signs of slowing down.
No, but Bren, great turn on the dirt. Neon, though, will have more speed on the exit, looking to land Bren so close to the edge there, but that's what you need to do if you're looking for the most speed possible, building that lead block by block. Bren into the water first. He's now being gained on by Nako, who's great speed. He's so close to the outside wall. through into first place goes Nako. Neon has dropped further back. Mistake from him. Now behind J-Swag as well. He's looking at the tail lights of Nako and Bren as Bren is re-overtaken for the lead. A finish line coming up, and Bren will take down first place in a round that Nako looked competitive in.
Yeah, that was a really good time from Bren as well. Like, really, really solid. Those jumps at the end were perfectly calculated from Bren. He was not letting anybody in the back door there. And Neon is going to have to settle once again for being behind by a few points. And it looks like, well, I mean, the water, very difficult section to maintain as much speed as possible on, right? Because you do have to release, and you do have to hope that with the turning that you have, that you're not going to clip any of those turns. It is deceptively tight.
Yeah, Nako, though, all of a sudden looking to be up there alongside Bren and Neon, who've really had it all their own way over the last 4 maps or so. And maybe this is the chance for Nako to start coming back, because we do still have time left in this match. And even once you get to finalist, this is not a foregone conclusion just yet. You do need to win that round. You can deny your opponents their win. We have seen it happen. Does Nako have it in him? It all starts with rounds like this. A little bit of airtime for both players. Nako this time going a lot further to the right, getting that early landing, but Bren carrying the speed so well will be moving through into first place. And at the end of the last round, Bren was the one who had managed to beat out Nako, but that water is clean from Nako once again.
Yeah, pretty much perfect from both of those two. Here it is going to be down to the wire between them. Bren with a lower jump, but it's more speed from Nako just about. Can he overtake in this final corner? So far inside, Nako takes more speed. Bren goes safe. It's going to be a round win for Nako here, exactly when he needs it.
That is beautiful from Nako. Near perfect on that identity, as Bren just couldn't quite hold it that time around. I mean, we know that Bren is more in the locker. We saw it in the previous round. There is a little bit more pace available there for Bren, but on this occasion, Nako able to pull out the round win and looking very, very solid on this map so far. The gap already beginning to shrink a little bit as J-Swag will take himself out of this round. Unfortunately, a player that we've not really been talking about a huge amount in this match, J-Swag, just hasn't had the same impact as some of the other players.
Yeah, and look, I think that was predicted from the start, right? When we were talking about second place, it was kind of that Nako Neon thing going on. J-Swag going to have to settle for, it's a difficult matchup that he has got going on right now, especially with all the question marks that we had with those second place players, as it were. Now, definitely looking for first is Neon, first in this round at the very least. But let's see how much airtime they are all going to get. Bren arcs forward just a little bit here. It's good from Nako as well. Neon is going to fall back into second place. Nako cannot get through that one unscathed here. Bren and Neon, it's wheel to wheel here once again. It feels like this is the storyline that we have been showing every single time here. Who is going to get it better on this one? Neon is right behind Bren. It's a matter of thousands between the two of them. Neon overtakes. Bren overtakes. It looks like Bren has it. Bren is going to take it once again. It's a great finish from Neon, but it's 34,000 between the two.
I don't think I was fully prepared, Twiggy, for this finish on Poland. Just that fraction of a second of getting grip earlier on these final two platforms is making all of the difference. Round on round on round, we have seen positions swap on that final jump, and this time around it will be Bren coming out on top, picking up 10 points again and moving within 10 points. Now 7 points away from finalist mode. If Bren can win another round, if he can beat Neon up at the front here, because Nako's already dropped behind, that's Bren on finalist, and he's 1 round away from locking in a spot in the upper bracket semi-finals of our group stage.
He is going to need to clean up that end, especially if he's going to be on finalist on Japan, because if you're not coming first, you are not getting through on finalist, and you're letting everybody gain 3 points. Exactly. And everybody is just going to start catching up to you, and then you're on double finalist, and then you're on triple finalist if you let it keep going, and that is a treacherous position to be in mentally, as well as just for the standings of the game. It's Neon in first place this time by quite a decent margin here, over a 10th between the two, and Bren is going to have to settle for looking for a mistake from this player here. Neon, can he gain back some of those points? It looks like that is the case. It does not look like there will be an overtake happening from Bren here. I don't know. No, that would be pretty insane if he was able to do it here. Neon will take first this time around, and is once again going to trade back some more points and deny finalists, most importantly, from Bren.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it like Bren looking to claw back just a little bit, but not only does Neon deny finalists from Bren, he now puts himself 1 round win away from finalist as well, and we are getting ready to head back to Japan, a map that was not going well for Bren last time around. Neon has the opening. It is there. The possibility that really, I think, very few people saw coming. We all respected Neon as a player. We knew he was fast. We didn't know his game on stage, and it is looking good right now. Neon very, very much has the opportunity to be the first seed coming through this match.
It is, yeah, looking more and more likely, right? And look, Bren is going to be thinking back to, what, 20 minutes ago now? Something like that, and just going, oh, no, this is not...
I think Bren's been playing Trackmania longer than Neon's been alive, and Neon's about to beat him.
You're not far off, actually. A few years difference, maybe.
Give or take a little bit, right? It's absolutely wild on this one. Look, there's a lot left to do, though, for Neon, right? Not a foregone conclusion in any direction, especially, as you said, we approach finalist mode, where you do have to actually win a round. And both of the other players in this lobby definitely still have the potential to deny. You can see it, J-Swag out in front. Bren is already back a little bit. Nyko behind as well. All four cars are still here. They're still in the race, but J-Swag has pulled out the early lead.
Yeah, I mean, that's gonna come up to fruition over the course of this map quite heavily here, although Neon taking so much speed through that first section there is going to take first position as we move on through. I mean, Neon is looking for this one here. Bren is just behind. You can't see him right now, but he is on the tails of these players here. A few tenths back, that is possible to gain back, but it looks like the kryptonite for Bren here is Japan, and that could come at the worst possible time here. If Neon gets 10 points, then he is going to be on finalists alongside Bren, as long as Bren finishes, which who knows at this point. Bren is right there behind the two, but he still needs to do well. Neon, no, I don't think so. Just taking less speed. Less speed. It's Nako right behind. He's the only person now that can deny Neon finalist alongside Bren, and we would immediately have a double finalist situation. Neon has done it. It's double finalist here in our first game between Bren and Neon, and how things have looked for Bren so far, that is going to be a horrible position to be in.
Bren crashed 3 rounds out of 4 the first time we visited Japan. Bren chose to put the map in this position. He was the one who placed it here.
He made his bed. He's lying in it.
His own worst enemy potentially in this moment. You can see Neon with the red name and the red number on the car. The same goes for Bren, who is already falling behind. Neon off in the distance, looking to lock this first seed in. The first round of asking a little bit slower into the jump there, but will land nice and quickly as Neon retains that first place. Nako is Bren's hope right now, I feel like. He's looking to Nako to do it, but Nako is dropping off Neon's back wheels.
Oh my lord, Neon out in first place, and it feels like this is exactly how things were meant to go. I promise we don't have a script, I promise. Neon out in first place. Bren is pushing hard. Bren wants that first position here. He knows it's now or never. It is this round, unless Nako can do something absolutely incredible. Neon's dodge! Oh no! Can Bren overtake Nako now? Can Nako deny any finalist from doing this one? Bren is out in first place. All he needs to do now is finish the track, something that he has found very difficult historically here on Japan in this tournament. We've only played 5 rounds of it, but still, he just needs to stay in first place. Can Bren do it and lock in the first position? It is looking likely, but this is where he's crashed every single time so far. It's good from Bren. It's Bren!
Out of frankly nowhere, Bren finds the round on Japan. Bren had, let's be very clear, 2 good rounds on Japan, a 33% success rate on the track. That's all he needs, baby. Bren qualifying through as the first seed, as the desk predicted. I don't think they were predicting it in quite that fashion.
And I don't think he was either, because you see his face after that was done. He is not happy with his performance, I don't think. Regardless, first position, whether by an inch or a mile, and I would call it less than an inch. He does manage to get it done there. Many people, never mind, don't worry about it. Neon is in first place this time around, and all he needs to do, win 1 round here, and he will lock in second. Nako's a little ways behind, still 31 points away from finalist himself. And it should be easy pickings here from Neon. Does not need to risk anything whatsoever. Just needs to make sure he's out ahead.
But Twiggy, here's the thing. If there is a time when the lack of stage experience, when the nerves of a big tournament kick in, it is when those red numbers appear on the back of your car. Finalist mode is scary. Does Neon have that ice in his veins? It's kind of looking like it, but there is still an identity to go. Can Neon keep it clean through these final corners of the track? Lock in that spot in the upper bracket semi-final. Nako is through. J-Swag is through. Neon clipped, is hoping for a mistake from 2 players now, and that is not all that likely. Who's going to pick up the 10 points? Nako still in front of J-Swag, it looks like. No, J-Swag through, and it'll be 10 points for J-Swag as Nako settles for 6, and Neon will have to settle for another full round of Trackmania.
Yeah, and look, I said there's a bit of a gulf in terms of points between the two, but when you're on finalists, you're not gaining anything back. You know, you are stuck here now, and you're waiting.
This is your late game build.
Watching everybody catch up to you slowly but surely here, and they're still a little ways away. But if you keep not being able to finish out in first position, it's going to come back to bite you here. And Neon, he needs to get this one here. He was on the cusp of coming first. If he comes third off the back of that, it's not good enough.
It really isn't. I mean, even second by an inch or a mile isn't good enough. J-Swag's touched. Nako's there, but he's a long way down as well. This is the best chance you have so far for Neon, and we know the pace is there, but he's going so slow.
Neon,
he's a sitting
it's a racing game.
Nako is there,
Neon, it's a racing
but they are
game.
wheel to wheel. Both of them speed back after that drift equalizes the speed. Nako and Neon wheel to wheel. Just a few corners left to go as Nako is trying to deny one more round, one more map. Neon coming back at him.
He needs to push now. He was in a position he didn't have to push, but now he does have to push, and he's just about ahead of Nako here. And the cameraman is a little faster than these two, but Neon in first position just needs to keep it clean, and that was his forte the first time we were around here on Japan. Can he get it done right here, right now, and join his brethren Bren in the upper bracket? Neon has secured it, and the other two are going to have to settle for the lowers.
Congratulations to Neon, youngest player entering the tournament. We had question marks about whether or not he was going to get it done, but he never had any doubts. That is not the face of a man who looked confused, who looked like he didn't think he was going to be here. Act like you belong, act like you've done this before.
Exactly. I mean, fake it till you make it. He's not faked it.
He's not faking anything. No.
Exactly. He has made it, I think, already. But making it even further now as he's going to be moving up in the upper bracket. You just need to win 2 games. Let's just look at it that way. It doesn't matter if you know, obviously you can get eliminated, but as long as you win 2 games, you are into the playoffs. And that is the first one down. Halfway there.
Yeah, and Neon looking incredibly quick, looking threatening, frankly, on that one. I mean, I'd almost wonder, can Neon warm up into this as well? The more stage experience he gets as he goes in this tournament, how scary is this guy?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, that's got to be a confidence booster, right? This game will have done wonders for Neon in terms of just, look, I've been able to get here, I've been able to do it, I know I'm a good player, can I do it on stage under the bright lights?
Yeah, I mean, Neon is getting it done, and it's hard. It is difficult to do this as well. And Trackmania, a game where it really is just all about your own performance. It's about that mental consistency, about your ability to pick yourself back up after you see mistakes like that, where you just misjudge your jump. Can you not let that get into your own head? Because it is all about your ability to execute on what you have driven over and over and over and over and over and over again in practice. And that's not a guarantee when it comes to these stage matches. And you have to say, I mean, Bren, we always knew he could do it. He has the legacy. He has been here. He has, in fact, done it before. But Neon was the question mark, and he has managed to get it done here. Moving forward in that upper bracket, we have not said goodbye to any players just yet, Twiggy. We will start to do that tomorrow. There is still hope for J-Swag and Nako, but they're going to step their game up on that one. For now, Twiggy, we're going to say goodbye. We're going to head on over to the stage for an interview with our players after that much, and we will see you back at the cast soon.
Thanks very much, fellas. I'm joined here by our first winner of the day. It's Bren, everyone! Well, Twisted Minds fans out there love it. Bren, we were watching that on the sidelines. You were experiencing that final lap against Neon head-to-head. How did it feel to play it? How did it, you know, in that moment, it must have been exhilarating for you, but also scary. I don't know. How did you feel?
Yeah, it was a scary round. I didn't play that map really good at the start of the match, so I got a bit worried. Neon has really good pace. He drives quick, but maybe slightly more crashy than me, so I was just hoping that he would make a mistake and try to drive clean, and it worked out.
It really worked out well. Thinking about the pick and bans in general there, we saw the kind of at the beginning the maps in Japan. I don't think anyone was really expecting Japan as our first map here necessarily. But when you saw all the maps being chosen, how did you feel in that moment when you saw exactly what was coming your way in this first round?
I would say the pick and ban was a bit what I was expecting, so I was pretty satisfied with the maps we had to play. Maybe one was surprising for me, but I didn't mind it. I feel comfortable on the 10 maps anyways, so that's a good thing. And yeah, pretty positive map pack for me. I just messed up on my own map. It happens.
It happens. It happens to the best of us. Before we let you go and get some rest here, tell us about this experience, Trackmania, EWC. What's it been like here with these amazing fans, everyone watching at home, being here in general here in Paris? How's it been for you, the experience so far?
I'm gonna probably speak for everyone, a part of the Trackmania community, but we're really grateful to be a part of EWC. It's a life-changing experience, and we're all really, really happy to be here. I love the player lounge. I love everything about the event. Honestly, it's just been a great time.
It's been great watching you so far. We're looking forward to seeing you race again next. But one more time, give it up for Bren! Well done, Bren. We head back to the desk now to Rain Day and the gang. What a great way to kickstart Trackmania here at EWC.
Absolutely, Adam, and that was a great showcase of the P1 expected Bryn to take the win for Twisted Minds. He does so, but maybe not in the way. But by inch or by mile, as Twiggy said on the caster desk, he got it done, and that's what matters most as he's moving on into the next round. Also, we'll be joined by Neon, guys. We welcome you back onto the desk. We've got G-Geek, Aaron, Import Books here. G-Geek, I mean, I think Neon as a storyline, to me, so surprising because we thought it was Nako and Neon tight neck, and they were, but Neon clearly showed a little bit of an advantage there.
Very pleasantly surprised about that indeed, and it started to somewhat click on towards the very end of Saudi Arabia, the second map, round 7, round 8. This is where he started to somewhat show promise, but it really kicked off on Argentina. Clicked into high 20s, low 30-point counts out of 40 possible points that you can get in the space of 4 rounds, which really set himself up as a true competitor against Bren. Shame for him that he kind of somewhat fell off a little bit by the time we reached Poland and then the second rotation of Japan, where it's not been that easy for Bren as well, be it on the first rotation or the second rotation.
I mean, definitely for Bren's side, he had the fastest time, the best time, and median time on Hungary, Argentina, and Saudi Arabia. So he was doing really well for himself. That first map, though, on Japan seemed a little sus, but it ended up being the map that he finished on after struggling 3 finalist rounds. The typical Trackmania experience. You get ahead of everybody, and then you're at that red F, and then it triggers everybody.
Listen, it's unfortunate that we're talking about, you know, losing an inch or a second here. I'm trying to finish Japan. That's kind of where I'm at in my Trackmania journey. But
you and I both, man.
You and I both. And I'm sure many of you at home know the difficulty watching this. It's amazing how they played it. But it was his map pick important. I think that's the other thing about Bren. How did you like the strategy of that? Because he even messed up on it, but it also seemed to be difficult for Nako, for Neon, to try to catch him there. They made mistakes too on that map.
I think for Bren's perspective, he probably was the most comfortable on it, but we've seen time and time again in past events where a player who's comfortable on a map actually struggles when they first played the map, and then if it comes back in rotation, that's when they're able to close out, and maybe that's why they wanted it that way.
Yeah.
But as far as that's concerned, yeah, he struggled, but he was able to close it out, and maybe that's the pick that he wanted for him.
I mean, at the end of the day, I look at it like, let's say, you know, you can only do it 70% of the time to your best degree, but other people are 50%. And so you have that 20% gap, whereas maybe you got a 98% on a map that's more comfortable for you. Norway was obviously banned, but let's just use that for example, and everyone else is 96. So the difference between your competitors might be the thing. Also, looking out for Neon in Argentina because he's so dang good at that one. All right, you've got some clips, G-Geek, that you've set up for us. What do you want to talk to us here?
Well,
you got to tell us straight already.
There are 2 things that I want to talk about, and you mentioned Neon on Argentina. This is a clip that we have from round 2 of Argentina, right at the bobsleigh. You can see that gate there, that is the nose steer. This completely locks your steering, and you'll see that Neon and Bren have different approaches. Let me try to pause it at the prepper moments. You can see Neon goes just a little bit wider, and entering the bobsleigh, he's going to go way higher. You can see that right there. He just sticks to the very, very top edge of the bob wall, whereas Bren, he's kind of teetering a little bit on the sidewall, and he is on the lower edge. Carries in a lot more speed for Neon, and as a result, you'll see that he'll go a lot deeper than what you would usually do on that turnaround. You can see there's the checkpoint trigger right there from Bren, right here, right at this word mark. Neon went a little bit deeper. You can go deep, that's fine, as long as you do not touch that reset right there, which will cancel out the reactor and thus rob you of speed. He came in with a pretty decent gap, but as we play the clip, he might just keep that gap at the very least the same, but extend even more, because look at how much he slingshots out of that particular corner.
I love it. I mean, his approach a little riskier as well, but showed the comfort that he had on that map.
And the other thing I want to talk about, and we're going to be switching to a little bit later on map 5, Poland. Let me just pull up the clip for you. This is Bren's entry into the platform around the 40-second mark, the end of Sector 2 here on this map. We're coming in a little bit early on. This is the entry into the dirt slalom. You can see Neon and Bren. Neon going a little bit wide, thus putting a little bit more steering angle in. Everybody kind of regrouped, and then we are arriving at the jumps. Watch carefully the setup. First of all, you can see everybody going for that very aggressive setup, trying to go for what we call a ramp cut. Basically, try to avoid going straight off the ramp, trying to go a little bit off the side to reduce airtime. And what's going to happen here, as you're about to see, everybody manages to keep the car straight, but Bren is very much leading on the right-hand side, and you're about to see he's going to be landing on the sidewall of the tire. That's a bit of a gamble that you take here in Trackmania, because if you land on the part that's got the tread, you will be able to retain your speed. If you land fully on the sidewall, that's it. The acceleration penalty triggers, and you are completely thrown off your momentum. But here, Bren got on the right side of the fence, and he continued to pull up a fight against Neil all the way through. And look at the speed that he was able to snowball all the way through the second jump and then into the next checkpoint before the underwater parts.
This is an amazing showcase as well. Obviously, Bryn was so successful, and you mentioned he was consistent, so that's a big element of it. You talk about speed versus consistency. He even mentioned that Neon, he knew he could do it, but he was counting on the fact that maybe he'd be more consistent, and he was.
Yeah, I mean, if you're new to Trackmania, hello, welcome to the biggest theme that is ever brought up to every single match in existence. That is speed versus consistency, pace versus consistency. And, you know, it is a struggle for those who are not at the top echelon to have that consistency.
Sure.
And we're going to see that from some players. I'll go ahead and mention a couple. Gwen, Elcon, kind of the biggest culprits when it comes to the highest highs you can have speed-wise, and then also struggling consistency-wise. It's feast or famine with players like them. But if they're on their game, they're on their game, and they're unbeatable, and they're scary. And the top players will tell you they are scary. But again, once we get to the top echelon, we're talking top 16, top 12, we're going to see it transition from consistency to pace, because everybody will have the consistency. Pace is going to be the determinant factor at the end.
Well, let's take a look at the schedule to see what's coming up now on your feeds for some more Trackmania. We're going to go over to Group A and Match A3, which will be EPOS and OTAC, a Team Liquid doubleheader with Shimko and Lingo in that group as well, AGAL representative. And, you know, the one thing... Is that AGL actually? Is Lingo? What's Lingo?
No, Lingo, that's Godlike Esports.
Godlike, that's right. My bad. I don't want to set up the rivalry if I don't have to as well. But EPOS and OTAC, two big names, two high expectations for that one. G-Geek, I mean, heading into that matchup, you would think one of those would take P1.
I would think EPOS would be taking P1 if I wanted to throw that out of the gate, because as we've touched on the top of the show, he's the most confident he has ever been. And one thing that he wants to go is at least try to go to the top 4, to the grand final, to try and keep on his grand final streak that he's been on since the very end of last year. So this is going to be one key thing to watch out for him.
Going to be exciting, guys. All right, we're going to take a little bit of a check-in with Chris at the Alliance Vault and see what's happening with the Club Championship. Chris?
Play is in our DNA. Whenever we let it out, it becomes our superpower. Now imagine an entire city being built to supercharge it. Kadir City, powered by play.
We're down here at the Alliance Vault to have a little look at what's going on this week with Trav on Crossfire. Now, already, we've been talking about the story between AGL and Falcons, the two teams who are really fighting it out for that first place. There's already points on the board here for AGL.
Yeah, absolutely. AGL off to a flying start. 2 wins straight over the last 2 days, so they'll be able to skip a day tomorrow, come back fresh on day 4, and really put a big performance in. So already 200 points on the board. They're looking incredibly good. They are the favourites of this competition, so have kind of breezed through it as expected. Falcons, however, down in the lower bracket. And the same for Vitality, as AGL have just beaten them to send them down there. Looking at the other side of things, Na'Vi as well, one of our top 4, kind of in and around that same area. One of the very few teams who still have a chance of winning it. Yes, might be a very slight chance of like 0.22% or something like that, I think it is. So not expecting too much from Na'Vi, but they're still sitting in the upper bracket at the moment, doing a pretty decent job.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting because I think across the entire event, I think Crossfire is the one that a lot of people are looking at for AGL to get their win, but for Falcons, it's more so on the CS side of things, right? So that might just balance things out, and then Trackmania and Fortnite, which is also going on, may well be the deciders here, but it's going to be maybe a little bit of pressure on AGL to go for the win. Kind of how level-headed are we on the favorites thing for them? though. I mean, look, they're coming into it. People are expecting them to win it, but they will have competition.
Yeah, they're looking to go back-to-back, to be honest with you. It's a lot of the Chinese teams who are their real competition, so that's who they're watching out for when it comes to the European teams. Not too much fight back, like Vitality struggling. It's not looking too great for them, but yeah, AGL kind of tied on favourites, looking to go back-to-back, had a convincing year last year, not many roster changes, and they're about the same again.
Okay, well, that means the pressure is very much on AGL here in Crossfire, and the Allianz Vault will be keeping in with Trav throughout the rest of the week.
This ain't no regular thing. Came for the ring, you know what I mean. You see my name in the lights, better get right, I'm champion.
We were there. For every click, every clutch, every respawn. We were there for the years of grind. And we're here. Now. The proud founding partner of EWC. Powering the biggest event in gaming. Shoulder to shoulder with the world's best. Making history. Greatness deserves a stage. Lenovo Legion. Reach your impossible.
EWC.
You can hear the round of applause for Epos' performance. He's a beatboxer as well as a all-star in Trackmania, and one of your favorites here in our second group of the day. What a talent. That was awesome, man. I can't wait to hear that live. Maybe if he wins, he'll give us some of that with Adam or Milos on stage. Welcome back here to the panel. My name's Rainday, and I've got a new introduction here. You know Aaron Import Brooks, but do you know Kai Lucker's Turbo? Kai, how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling awesome, man. What was that for a first match? Neon with an absolute incredible performance. I'm hyped to see more like that.
So exciting, dude. And honestly, you know, it's your first time, so I want to give you a little bit more like experience. You know, we had the moment of Trackmania jumping onto EWC, the players, Bren talking about how important this is to the community. I'm sure you have a few words about how big this is for all of Trackmania.
I mean, it's the biggest tournament that ever happened in Trackmania, and I think Bren already summarized it very, very well. $500,000 are on the line, and that is definitely something to play for. And yeah, this is life-changing for the players.
I love it, man. All right, so, you know, we saw our first races, and I think when you look at it, it was a showcase of kind of a bet on yourself to finish off with Bren. He did narrowly make it into that first spot. Neon played really, really well. Now this group, we have two names that are very familiar in the Trackmania scene, in Epos and Otak. Talk to me about kind of the dynamic that you expect going into this one.
So these two players have actually never been teammates before, so this is their first time actually being in the same org and kind of having to work together in a sense in this regard. But as far as Epos is concerned, I mean, he has kind of been the lone wolf for many events, and hasn't had really an org up until this point, so now Team Liquid being a big pickup for him. Otak has had success previously being with Carmine Corp, so he has definitely had some org success and been able to pick up, and also just Trackmania Grand League success in previous editions. But as far as Epos, first I have to give props. I knew he was a beatboxer. Fun fact, he's the UK beatboxing champion.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So yeah, very talented guy on and off the track, if you will. So I'm excited to see how he performs. I always tell him, I always ask him every event I see him, I say, hey, can you at least do a little bit of beatboxing during the match to throw the other players off? That would be so much fun, I think.
That is right where my brain went first. I said, why can't you just be beatboxing on a corner? Just, you know, say, get a 10th away from your opponents. But when you look at Epos and Otak, I mean, Otak, to me, you and I were talking about Kai a little earlier. You know, he's on a little bit of a redemption tour. Had this high in 2023 as a world champion, and now wanting to get back to that level, supersede that level. This is an opportunity to do that.
Yeah, definitely. He has to prove himself, but in the tournaments that he participated in, he didn't live up to the expectations. 2023 was really the year for him, where he won the World Championship alongside Bren at this point. It was just a historical match, but 2024 was also okay, but now 2025, big question mark. But he's here to deal some damage, and he's a very good counterpiece for Epos, who's just thriving and thriving, and it seems like there's no ceiling for him.
We know Team Liquid is excited about the opportunities that they've got here. Let's take a listen to what Rachel had to say with EPOS earlier before this match. Was beatboxing involved? I hope so.
Okay, EPOS alongside me now. EPOS, before we get into things, is there something that we should know about you away from Trackmania? What are your hobbies?
Well, outside of Trackmania, I would say the biggest thing is I'm actually a beatboxer. And so I'm the current UK beatbox champion as of last year. And yeah, I hope to keep that title at the end of the year as well. So it's a fun little hobby aside of Trackmania.
Can you use that at all in Trackmania? Does it ever merge? Did your two worlds merge?
I wouldn't say it merges, no, because with Trackmania you have to be pretty focused, and to beatbox at the same time it'd probably take away from the focus a little bit. So no, I'd rarely do it alongside.
Back to here and now then. You've had experience of LANs, obviously, before. How much is that going to help you at EWC?
I mean, I'm used to the stage. I mean, aside from Trackmania, the beatbox crowds as well. So I'm definitely used to a crowd. So I think that plays to my favor. So yeah, I just think it's experience over the years. I mean, it's the boring answer, but yeah, you get used to it after a while.
Tell me about the groups then. You know, what are you hoping for, or what are you hoping to come out of the groups?
I mean, ideally you qualify as early as you can. I mean, I believe 4 qualify if you win your first 2 matches. And so, yeah, I would like to be first in both matches, keep the highest seed, and go on to the playoffs in strong form.
What kind of form are you in right now?
I believe it's the best form I've been in Trackmania.
And why is this? How much have you been practicing? Tell us a little bit about the process to get here.
I think it's just more efficient practice, you know. It's similar time that I would invest in other tournaments, but I think I've just been really thorough, making sure I don't have any critical errors in the tracks. And so, yeah, I just feel stronger than ever.
All the tracks, have you got a weakness?
No.
Ooh, confident. Okay, and overall, what is your aim? You must have set yourself an ambition.
Well, I've made every final of every tournament I've played this year, so I think I'd be pretty disheartened if I didn't make the final.
One to watch. And EPOS, can you just beatbox us out of this interview? You are so cool. I love it. All right, I'll see you out there. Cool. Thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, he's too cool.
Well, I mean, I asked for it. We got it. Thank you so much, EPOS and Rachel, for setting that up. Great to hear the confidence, and disappointed if he doesn't.
I want to hear your
finals.
best beatbox. Can you?
I mean, I don't have any stats, but I can.
Cats and boots and cats and boots and cats. You know, something like that.
I mean, but listen. It's gonna have me spitting all over here, guys. I love it. I didn't know you got down like this on Trackmania. Wow, they shouldn't have given you guys a stage.
It's a party every time.
It's gonna be crazy, man. 4 days of these guys. So I mean, listen, I love the way that we talked about his expectations and a final every single tournament that he's played this year. What a performance! I mean, we can't expect anything less here going into Esports World Cup.
I do think so as well. I mean, the field is more stacked, but XP Evo 2025.
ये भी है ये भी है ज़रा सा ये भी बात है
He's ready. He is there to deal damage, and EPOS.
Yeah.
After that, I mean, he still has to prove himself on stage just in a couple of minutes, but he's ready.
Well, one of the things that we want to make sure you're keeping tabs on are your pick'ems. So make sure to let us know if you think EPOS is going to bring that beatboxing style that he goes represents UK with here onto the track, grabbing another chance to get closer and closer to the finalists. You will have a chance to see if your picks are right, and also just the bragging rights in chat as well. So let us know who you think is going to win. Import, I want to hear your thoughts on this one as well, because there's 2 players we actually haven't talked about. Shimko, who is kind of the MENA representative, right? Pretty much the best player in MENA. How are we expecting him to fare?
I think, in general, he is a very good player. We haven't really seen him at this caliber quite yet.
Okay.
He's been in a couple tournaments. He's been on several online events, but he's never been in a scenario such as this, and the pressure I can imagine for him. But also, I mean, he has nothing to lose. This is his opportunity to show out and be able to perform. Looking at Lingo on the other side, our remaining player, the other epitome of feast or famine. This guy, EPOS himself, has said he is scared of a on-tact Lingo. So if Lingo's on it, he's scary. But Lingo's issue that he needs to be able to focus on is to not get sidetracked by small mistakes. You will notice if it happens, it will happen, and it will happen in a very rough way. We've seen it in multiple events before. If he does not focus and keep himself on track, he will make mistake after mistake, and you'll start to see the breakdown. And I hope we don't see that. I want to see the top tier Lingo that we know.
Yeah, the mental component. How do you feel about Lingo and of course Shimko coming into this?
I mean, if we see a top tier Lingo who's very consistent, he's there to battle it out for the top 2. But against those players, against EPOS and Otak, it will be very hard. Shemko, on the other hand, he definitely has a chance. He's also fast, but I think he can shine through with his consistency. I think that's his strong suit. In his region, he was very dominant, that's for sure. But is it enough to also deal damage against the other players?
Winning in MENA, does it translate here to the global stage, to this caliber of group? And import the question that I've raised, you seem to have an answer that probably not, but anything could happen on the day.
Of course, anything can happen. This is, like I said, he has the opportunity to show out and at least cause disruption, if at minimum, right? He has the ability to throw people off their game and put pressure on players. That's a great thing about players that we don't really have that much data on. So I'm excited to see how it's going to turn out. This match is going to be fantastic.
We talk about the high end and getting into gear. We also talk about the consistency. And I know somebody who knows how to stay on beat with the rhythm. Epos shown us that he can do it off the track. Let's see if he can do it on as we begin Group 2.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Our first ever series of Trackmania at the Esports World Cup has just gone by the wayside. What a way to kick things off, down to the wire. Before we talk about that, though, Adam, that mustache, very French. Is it real?
It is. Many people have been asking with a moustache, saying, is it real? Did you grow it yourself, or did you draw on with a crayon? What I will say is this. My kids love to paint. They love painting, all right? Speaking of which, painting the town red. That's exactly what Bren did in that first matchup there as well. Incredible start to proceedings here for Trackmania EWC. I think a taste of things to come.
Very much so. I think it really sets it up for the games to come. Neon really gave it his all. It's going to help him out points-wise later on because there's more games to go through. Speaking of which, let's introduce our next competitors to the stage, starting off with EPOS! Representing Team Liquid, he is one of the top contenders from the British Isles, aiming straight for the finals with a long road ahead.
Please welcome to the stage, Lingo! Two-time Pan-American champion Lingo is here to make his mark on this international stage.
On set stage, representing RQ, is Shemko! He leads as frontrunner from Turkey in the overall MENA region, looking to prove himself internationally for the first time ever.
And to round out our 4 players, welcome Otak! Aiming for grand finals and a second world title, will this 4th World Cup appearance be the jewel in his crown? Let's go! We're loving what we're seeing here, Paris. You are so energized. We love to see this here. It's all about to go down here. We're going to ask our players to make their ways to their seats. Please place your keys into your stations. And let's get this second series underway. Here we go.
Thank you, Adam and Milos. The stage is set in Paris. What a welcome. Trackmania has brought all the energy we expected, maybe even more so, as we look to begin our second group of 8 for the day in our group stages. A friendly reminder, no one's going home today. We are setting up our upper brackets, we're setting up our lower brackets. So there is a risk if you don't perform in the top 2 that you're going to have to do a little bit more to make your way to that final day. But you are still in it. So a lot of preparation with that. And I'll lead it to you, Import. Does that mean you can take a few more risks to try to understand some things? Or do you need to be as conservative as possible to start out? What do you think?
It depends on your strategy. I think it's not a simple one or the other. If you're a player that knows you can be very fast, you may want to hide your times. You may not want to let everybody know what your pace is out of the gate. This is going to be something that's probably going to be a factor for Epos and Otak.
I do think that hiding your pace or your times here will be already very difficult because you play against players that are hungry, that have to prove themselves. Right. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and just causing a mess up here is huge for them.
Yeah, and I think honestly, on that point, we may see not hiding pace, but we could. It just really depends. I think it's going to be dependent on how the match flow goes.
Of course.
I mean, for example, Bren, he struggled at the beginning.
He did.
Then he had to bring out a little bit more pace to be able to put himself at the top. This could be another scenario. It just really depends on how the players are feeling getting into this, if they're able to manage the tension coming into this match.
Well, South Korea banned earlier on. It's picked up by Epos as well. Argentina goes into the ban pool, so we'll see a new map for sure here, Kai, as Saudi Arabia also picked here from OTAC.
Yeah, and pick number 3 will be Canada. So we will go to home soil for Lingo here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a complete different pick phase here happening. Norway also being picked up. That's a spicy one. And Poland concluding the rotation.
Norway is actually not a surprising pick from Lingo. Lingo has played ice. He's very good at it, so this could be something that may be a comfort pick for him. He knows that everybody else hates the map, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of been a common thing. We heard disaster.
Of course.
So this could be something that Lingo is using to his advantage, and I think honestly this map pack in general for Lingo actually benefits him, especially with Canada and Norway, and even a little bit of Poland as well. So I'm interested to see how that feathers out.
And I love the idea of maybe Lingo needs an edge somewhere, so he's finding it in the map pick.
Yeah, I do think so. Let's see if this will actually happen. I think he can make it, but I still have to put OTAC and Epos in first and second position.
Unbelievable. Well, we'll see several new maps here in Group 2. It's already been a banger of a day in Trackmania, and we are just getting started. And I know a couple of gentlemen who are also just getting started in their Trackmania casting career. Some fellas I've known for a while, and I know they're going to do a great job here. Let's send it over to Onset and Bravo.
Thank you so much, Rain, and yes, very excited to be here. I think that's something that I can say for both of us, Andy, Bravo. It's a fantastic occasion. Trackmania has been something that we've been fans of for a time that has really kind of got us invested in the scene and the history, and now we get our first opportunity, as some of the players on our main stage do, to make a little bit of history here. The first time we're going to crown a champion here at EWC for the game, and the first time that a player like Lingo is going to watch Chemco take the stage.
Yeah, I mean, such a pleasure to be here. We want to just give a huge shout out to the whole Trackmania community. It means a lot to have the opportunity to be here with you at such a historic event, of course, in the game that has such a legacy. Decades now of competitive play, of course, have all come down to this, and how fitting to now see South Korea for the first time on your screens here. It's going to be Chemco, Lingo, OTAC, and Epos here in your second set of the day.
And Andy has already promised me that if he sees Epos taking home a win here, that he might warm up the vocal cords and see if his beatboxing is quite up to standard. We've already heard it from the gentleman on the desk. We'll have to see if Andy can join them a little bit later on. But early on here, starting off on South Korea, Andy, we're going to see some reactors towards the end as Epos is going to have a little bit of bump there, and Lingo is going to be in behind him as well.
And speaking of, what a divide early on this map. You expect coming to the reactor there that things would be a little close, but instead take a look. It's nearly a 3-second gap for the back of the pack.
OTAC out in front at the start of this race as well. The hometown hero, the Frenchman, is certainly going to have support from the community here in Paris, and with a little bit of an established lead at the start of this by about 0.2 of a second. He's going to be feeling pretty good going into this first little turnaround. Very careful on the brakes here.
Way wide.
Chemco going very wide and finding himself falling behind as OTAC has a clean run here into the identity to take home these 10 points.
Look at OTAC all alone. Of course, you heard the home crowd. Not surprising to be behind him here, and what a first lap he's done, especially when you compare it to the pack. He will cross the finish line with a +10. It will eventually be Chemco coming in. Epos will make sure to get in third, Lingo in fourth. But as we said, it's not only a big gap in the middle of the pack, it ended up being a big gap in the front of the pack as well. It's a clean opening win for OTAC.
I'm putting that one down to nerves for a lot of players. The difference in seconds between some of the placements that we did see. Everybody's going to get comfortable. Everybody feeling their way into this tournament. But OTAC going to feel very comfortable knowing that his first race here at EWC resulted in 10 points. Epos now trying to chase down the pack, as we can see all cars coming through pretty clean.
Epos in the back once again here, just coming into the dirt, getting ready for this big turn here off of into the reactor, which, as we said, was a big separator, but now everyone here really tight coming off the reactor into the left-hander.
Yeah, full throttle here onto the grass, sliding into this left hand where we'll go back onto the throttle. It's Epos out to a lead through the checkpoint. A little depth of the drift on the brakes as we now jump from the tarmac back to the grass and holding this gear for the jump here.
Very important. Hold this gear. Everyone wants to hold fourth there cleanly and set up a good line. And actually, it's very nice from OTAC yet again. Pulls ahead by just a bit, but it's Epos with a cleaner line here into the engine off.
Now, engine off. So a few mistakes here, and it's actually Otak who just loses the lead as Epos comes through into the identity. The first turnaround, Epos going to go deep on that one. Otak's going to close a little bit of the gap, but Epos still just about managing to hold on to this lead as we go into the final turnaround here. Epos will take home the 10 points, and just in behind him, Otak, it felt like everybody a little bit more comfortable in that second round.
Yeah, it feels very important there from Epos as well. You saw he was actually in the back of the pack before we went into that, and ever important ice slide into the reactor. Instead, he makes sure to
लेवल
just
अब कैसे
level
होगा?
things out here.
Sending
He calms
करने
it
से
down
वो
and
sending
now
करें
only
क्वीन जा
trailing
रहा है लोग
Otak by
क्वीन जा
2
रहा है
points here.
Into the third round here on South Korea. From the dirt, we go on to the tarmac, a little tap of the brakes as we go into this right-hander, and it's Lingo. Man whose mentality has been questioned by a few coming into this event, who has a momentary lead as we head back. With the engines turning back off into the turnaround through the ice, onto this first jump, over onto the right-hander. Now it's Lingo who has that lead. Otak close on his tail by about 300ths of a second.
Yeah, this downhill right here can be a big opportunity to make up a lot of time. We'll see if Lingo can hold it all the way through this, but unsurprisingly, it's going to be Otak who knows exactly how to take that and knows how to overtake as well, but they are very close here coming into this turn.
Yeah, Lingo's just takes the lead there on the exit as we go into this grass slide all the way through this right-hander and into the section that has separated a couple of these players. You see Lingo just holding on to that lead as we go into the identity. Epos has made a little bit of time up once again on that section. He seems like he's quicker than most through there.
And look at Lingo, a man who needs the points. He's also the first down. He's going to maintain this by just a bit, but it's Epos who's trying to snipe.
Look at Epos. He's got the speed. Does he have the line? Does he have the maintaining speed? Yes, he does. And in the identity, Epos will take away the 10 points. Puts him up now at the front of the leaderboard, but it's that last section that you're really seeing man from the UK separate himself from the pack.
Really nicely done there, even though Lingo had on the second to last jump, even though Lingo had wheels down on asphalt first, instead it's Epos who knows how to finish the race. We talked a lot about his veteran experience. Let's not forget, 4th place in the DreamHack qualifier in a very, very crowded tournament. That was a statement, and you saw him talking about earlier today. He feels confident in all of his prep and all of his maps as well. Everyone pretty tight here into the reactor.
Yeah, I think it takes something from a player to put it out online to say, I am feeling confident. You only kind of set yourself up for failure with that kind of a statement, but he's obviously feeling like this is his tournament where he can have a run. You heard it in the interview with Rachel as well, saying that he's made every final this year and he wants to continue to do that. So
level 5 से पहले लाइव ऐसे नहीं, level 5 से पहले लाइव
leading here as we transfer back into this right-hander. And with a lead, this is where he separated himself. So he's going to be feeling very, very confident as we start to approach this identity.
Ooh, really clean lines, but it's Epos with the
level 5 करना पड़ेगा
not only a very good line, but very good acceleration all the way out. It's a clean lead for Epos once again.
Chemko trying to hold on to second place here, but Lingo is breathing down his neck. Epos! He's out in the lead, but Chemko
Welcome everyone, follow कर लेना guys अगर किसी ने follow नहीं किया हो
the opportunity for Otak to come through and take 3rd place away. Chemko falling down at the final hurdle there. We all know the pressure that is on some of those identities. Those final turns can feel so much more difficult than when you're sat at home.
I'll tell you what, just like our first set of the day, an action-packed first 4 maps in this round as well between these drivers. And even though you might think, just based on seeds, let's not forget, of course, Epos coming in with the 4th seed, Otak with the 13th seed, and that's quite a huge margin between Chemko and Lingo at the 32nd and 28th seed, respectively. Lingo certainly making a run for his money, and I want to talk about what Import said on the desk. When Lingo is firing on all cylinders, Epos said he can be a threat. He's already proven that he's going to be pushing it here and be a threat to this group. Now we get ready to go to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, we've already seen this map a little bit earlier on today. Some of those jumps are going to be separators, that heartbreaker of the tiny gap right at the end that really can turn a 1st place into a 4th place. And you're going to have to see the players really lock in for those final moments. It's so difficult when you're trying to push, when you're trying to maintain that lead or replacement going into that final jump to make it cleanly. And we've already seen some mistakes made in those final moments, and that's going to continue through the tournament here as we jump into Saudi Arabia.
Right, as we settle in now to Saudi, as we said, it's Epos out in front with 34, a sizable lead over Otak with 24, Lingo 18, and Chemko just behind with 16.
So Otak out to an early lead here as we jump into the dirt. Chemko really struggles there as now we'll see Otak making the jump pretty cleanly, Lingo in behind him. And I think for Lingo now, if you come out of Saudi Arabia with some extra points on the board and start to close that gap, that mentality that has been questioned is going to be coming into the next track that we go to with a little bit more confidence.
Epos trying to make up time. You saw him just behind Lingo. He's not far off, but it is Otak clearly out in front as he get ready for just quick little taps here on the left side, and we'll get ready for a few penalty sand touches as he gets ready for these right-handers.
Epos just appears out of nowhere. Once again, it feels like the final third of these maps is where Epos is making up a lot of time and a lot of speed, and now he is on the bumper of Lingo, and it looks like he's just about to go into second place. Otak is in the lead, but it's all about this land in Epos. Look at the speed that he has into second place. Otak will take home first, and Lingo will have to settle for third place once again.
And I tell you what, if the track is 200 meters longer, you feel like Epos with that acceleration off that jump, he probably clears that one. So, as we said, Epos was in third place, but you could even tell from the camera that we were on of Lingo's POV that Epos was just nipping at his heels the entire time. That'll put Epos now on 40 points. Otak trailing by 6 at 34.
You just almost looking over your shoulder instead of what's in front of you, just knowing, like you say, that he's nipping away at the heels. It can be very, very distracting. And it does cost him going into those final moments here. Everyone clean through the jump by the looks of things at the start. Saudi Arabia here as we go into the transfer. To quarter pipe to quarter pipe. Now transferring back onto the ice. We'll see if anyone has to just correct it. Chemko falling behind a little bit, but at the front, all three drivers wheel to wheel at this point.
Wow, they're really impressive here. As you said, it's just really a race here for second as everyone's just trying to figure out who might come out of these. It's a really good line from Epos once again.
Yeah, that line from Epos is separating him, it's catching him up, it's giving him those tenths of seconds, those hundreds of seconds that are making the difference. But Otak still holding on here as we go into the final left-hander before this jump. And it's going to be Otak who's looking to go back-to-back here. Epos still in second place, and it will be Otak back-to-back here on Saudi Arabia and feeling very, very confident.
Really clean once again. You're just seeing the consistency from these drivers. I think we saw a little bit of wobbles in our first round on Saudi Arabia, and surprisingly, it was not the obstacles. It was not the tiny gaps. It was not the jump through the gap. Instead, it was really at places that you might not expect it. Instead, in this round, everyone has been very clean throughout, and just like that, Otak is only down by 2 at 44.
I think everyone's going to be keeping an eye on the lines that are taken by Epos through those island jumps where we're really seeing him close whatever gap is available. It's about if he could put himself into a position before that to close out one of these. And looking at the start here as we transfer to the dirt before the first jump, Epos has done exactly that. Out into first place and a little bit of a gap opener at the start.
Really nice, really clean third gear all the way through that dirt for everyone as they get ready now. As we said, it had not been trouble until now.
Well, I cursed him, and unfortunately for Epos, he's going to have to go to the back of the pack by the looks of things, whereas Otak and Lingo will lead the way, and it will be 3 in a row here for Otak. If he can come through these island jumps, the final section and that jump in first place. Nice pace through here. He does momentarily take away the lead once more, and Lingo is going to fall into second place. Otak is looking to go back to back to back here.
Look at this, Lingo still with him for the moment. We'll see if Otak hits this penalty stand in the ram first. He should be able to do it. Otak looking to make it 3 for 3.
He does not. Maybe he was thinking 3 for 3. But instead, it's going to open the door for Lingo to steal away first. Epos and Chemko a long way behind at the moment. And if this actually comes out with a dead end, that's 0 points on the board for him. That is going to hurt, especially because he went into the lead so early.
Oh my word. Just as we thought everyone was getting very comfortable and we started to talk about consistency, it is not only the quarter pipe jump, but it's also the final jump that has huge consequences on the board. That's the DNF, as you just saw. Otak will not only take the lead, but he leads at 50 by 4 over Epos now.
The 2 front runners at the front. First jump is made cleanly by the first 3 players. Otak with a momentary lead. You can see Epos is sniffing. And the back wheels once again, but that pressure is making a difference. Otak has to fall behind, has to hit the checkpoint, and Epos now has the lead with Lingo right in behind.
You talk about land pressure. We'll get back, of course. Otak now 7 seconds behind. We'll talk about that in a second, though, because they're going to race once up front again. It's Lingo and Epos now to try to take this one.
Wheel to wheel going into the dirt here. Across the penalty stand, which can be a little bit unpredictable. Everyone wheels down there. Lingo momentarily into the lead, but Epos is right alongside him. And then just as we approach the jump, it felt like Epos was in the lead, but Lingo might have the speed. Towards the end, it's going to be Epos, though, who holds off the challenge of Lingo and rights the wrongs of the previous round.
I tell you what, unbelievable. Like we said, we always talk about in Trackmania, you hear it time and time again. It's when do the nerves hit. It's not a question of if on the nerves. It's a question of when. And on Saudi Arabia, you saw it happen at a few different times. After we saw near perfect runs from the entire group on the first first 2 rounds of Saudi. Instead, everyone started to slip up at different points, and it is EPOS now who will take the lead in the group.
Just the moments where everybody catch their breath, because this has been exhilarating stuff in the first 2 maps that we have seen. Certainly not been disappointed with the amount of drama and action and mistakes, I think, coming out of some of these players, which I'm sure everybody, even if you're on front of the leaderboard, is going to know as we progress through this tournament, you are going to have to minimize those.
You really are. So we get ready for 2 things here, Mark, on Canada. It's going to be speed and slaloms. One of our favorite maps, certainly, and a map that we get now to see. And of course, the difference makers here are really going to be areas like the no break, when you think about what you are going to be able to do in these sections and the way that you need to move as fast as you can. And as we said, it's all about pushing it as fast as you can within these slaloms. A lot of precision here.
A lot of precision, a couple of speed slides to get that acceleration where it needs to be. EPOS out to the lead here as we jump into the first turn on the sausage block, and now into the sausage slalom. EPOS momentarily lead. We unfortunately zoom in on the Chemco at just the wrong time. Slips that barrier and puts him at the back of the pack.
So our opportunity here is this section. We'll see exactly who can come out in first. It's actually OTAC who makes the most of that. We're going to see a lot of differences made, and even now 3 drivers as we get into the chicane really close up front.
Flowing through the dirt here to the outside dirt line, just trying to line up essentially for the exit into the grass. Everybody trying to desperately hold on to the gear as we slide around in 4th, up to 5th now before the final turn here on Canada, which can make such a difference. This is where so many dreams are made and broken. Everybody coming through clean. It is so close to the front. OTAC with a little bit of lead, and he will take away the 10 points on the line. Lingo will have to settle in the second.
Yeah, aside from intro tap, everything else pretty straightforward drivers. And I tell you what, if you watched a lot of Canada in qualifying, whether we're talking about all the events leading up and especially the online qualifiers, you know all too well that this map can absolutely claim victims, especially in the identity. We'll be keeping a very close eye on that. Here we are into round number 2.
It's around number 2 then. Full speed once again. Chimka will know where he made that mistake and will be in the back of his head as he approaches the sausage road for the first time here. This time it's looking a little different. This is where the mistake was made, but no mistake this time around. He's still staring at the bumper of OTAC as we go through the section here into the sausage block once again. OTAC is establishing a commanding lead at the start of this one.
What an exit. That will always be a difference maker on the map. As you see EPOS all the way down to the back. OTAC not only in the lead in this race, but of course also now in the lead in the group with 64 points.
Yeah, big mistake coming in from EPOS. He's 7 seconds behind as we went through that checkpoint, so he's going to be thinking about just getting to the finish line. But OTAC at the moment is looking absolutely superb, almost flawless as he turns around once again, looking clean. It will be another 10 points on the board here. Off the upright.
And he'll still tuck in there, just
his way across the finish line.
My word, EPOS, of course, will still get the +3. But I tell you what, I think, hey, first of all, I got to say, we've all been there on Canada. You know, as soon as the line is not good and you might hit the midway on the checkpoint in between the two, I mean, we all felt it, and he still will cross the line, crawls across it, as you say, but it's OTAC out in front now, leading EPOS by 9 at 74.
Sick feeling in the pit of your stomach as you go, oh no, oh boy, this is not looking good. But it's OTAC out in front once again. EPOS this time around looking a little bit better. Hasn't fallen behind by the 7 seconds that we saw with the mistake in the previous round. The pack pretty close together as we will exit and turn into this right-hander here, Andy, and it's OTAC and Lingo have separated themselves from the pack as we jump into the dirt slalom.
OTAC 3 for 3 on the exit there, but as you say, it's Lingo who through the dirt is able to make up quite a lot of time, gets ready for the grass section. Not much left here before the identity.
Lingo with the pressure on to OTAC, who really doesn't feel like he's been affected by the pressure too many times around. He's in the lead once again, has not failed this final turn on the ice, and it looks like at the moment he's going to come through, but look at the speed from Lingo. Lingo this time around has the speed, but does not have the line. And a heartbreaking moment where first place and 10 points evaporates in front of you.
Wow, the 21-year-old Canadian, look at him, he's the 28th seed, and Mark, he knows he needs to push it here. He knows he needs heroic moves like that at 57 points, and he sends it. He goes for it, but in the end cannot hit the precision, and what should have been a +10 instead sees him in the back of the pack. It's now OTAC on 84 points to EPOS' 69.
Lingo, 21 years old right now, but if he makes a few more mistakes like that, he might walk off the stage looking a little bit older. Looking a little bit more like me, but Lingo now in 3rd place, looking at OTAC and EPOS, who most of the story has been about so far. OTAC has spin, dominating the race.
3000 का होगा टेलर का नंबर दे देता हूँ उससे बाय कर लो
Otak feeling very, very comfortable as we jump into this dirt slalom. Epos has had a little bit of an up and down Canada so far.
He certainly has. This is the first time we've seen Epos leading at not only this point, but also for really the past few checkpoints as well. He may very well be leading into 5th gear, and he will.
Left-hander into the final turnaround. It's Epos and Otak. Who's got more speed into the jump though? Epos, he's wide, but he's not quite enough. He's good enough. He slides it just inside the post on the finishing line. And Epos has a little bit of a stretch, has a deep breath, and thinks to himself, that's more like it.
Yeah, this is the man, of course, with so much experience here, and of course, coming in with the 4th seed, as we said, over Otak's 13th seed, and let's not forget qualifying via the Elite Cup, and has a lot of experience under his belt as well. These two will go neck and neck, but most importantly for Epos at this point before we get into Norway, Mark, which, by the way, fantastic that this is
I'm very excited that
fantastic that this is our next map. Epos, I think that's a big result for him. Not only the points on the board at the end of that round on Canada, but also as you talk about the mental game and you talk about the momentum game here on land, going into Norway, that will be a reminder, maybe settle the nerves a bit. Put down your consistent Norway runs, and as we get closer to 140, this will be much closer than it has been for the first few races.
Yeah, and you heard it from the dash from Import saying that, you know, maybe Lingo's got this one in his back pocket. He's so very comfortable on ice, and that is what we are going to see a lot of here on Norway. But we are also going to see two of the, well, they are the 2 biggest jumps that we have in the maps that we're going to be playing here at EWC 26. And they are certainly going to test the nerves. One of my favorite tweets that I saw coming into this event was actually from Mime saying, the jumps that I've practiced thousands and thousands of times, I am going to be shaking in my boots the first time that I have to do it on the main stage.
Without a doubt, it's Lingo who does pushes enough, and Epos just behind him, but Lingo with a very good opening section. We'll talk about just how technical that is over these next few laps. Of course, Lingo setting up jump number 1, Epos not far behind.
Yeah, very aggressive line from Epos, and he's going to stick it on the exit as well as we jump into the bobsleigh, and by sticking it a little bit better on the jump, look at the speed now that Epos has as we go into that sideways. Nice slide. It's a little bit wide. It's too wide from Epos, and Lingo now sees the door open in front of him.
I think we all knew he was pushing it, and maybe just a tiny bit too much on the wall clip. Something was going to clip, and in the end, he does. In the end, Lingo leading. It's a good reactor from him as well, the final jump.
Final jump coming up then for Otak. Look at the points differential. He's sat on 90 points right now, a couple of second places. It's going to feel very good for him. Lingo and Otak both come through clean. Lingo will take home the 10 points. Chemko will be at the back of the pack. Is he going to have time to finish here and get any points on the board at all?
See, that's really the question. Oftentimes it is not the case, and it will not be, of course. Heartbreaking, especially because on so many maps, a simple tap somewhere, missing an identity even, a key part of an identity will not cost you. On this map, Mark, we know it will.
You missed that final jump. DNF is going to be displayed on your heads-up display more often than not. Chemko, a very difficult learning experience there as he has to come out of that round with no points on the board. Into the bug slide turnaround through the checkpoint, and it looks like Lingo is out into the lead once more, and this pick is looking pretty good for him at the moment.
It certainly is here into this 4th gear for just a second. Maintain that all the way through. We'll see if everyone can be clean on this jump. They certainly were through the Lenovo Legion gap, and now it's going to be Otak and Epos fighting for the exit into the ice.
Once again, it's Epos who lands that jump so clean and comes out with more speed than one of the players that's in front of him. Takes away second place, and this time the ice slides looks a little bit safer I would say, from Epos. Maybe not the quickest, but certainly better than it was last time around.
Certainly safer, and it will not cost him the 2 seconds it cost him last time, but let's not forget it definitely did cost him, a few seconds. It's Otak off the reactor boost with the cleanest line. We'll see if he can close out here.
Yeah, Otak just needs to stick the jump, and he'll be taking home the 10 points. Chemko and Lingo a long way behind. It's a 2-horse race at the moment. Otak, oh no! He will fall into the abyss, and it does open the door, and from the comfortable-looking second place, all of a sudden Otak is going to have to think about finishing this one. He should just about get across the line, and at least comes away with the 3 points.
I tell you, you could just tell by the reaction on his face. You can see it on screen right now as well. Just disappointment there. How many times, as we talked about other pro players mentioning, how many times have you done that jump? He's unable to close it out there. That will put Otak on 99. Epos is only 6 points away here at 93.
You can remember with Lingo playing the way that he is here on Norway, there's a good chance that that gap starts to close. If he keeps taking those first places away, keeps taking a few seconds and sends Epos and Otak a little bit further down the leaderboards, then this could get very interesting When we finish up here on Norway, Epos again, aggressive line on that jump, sticks it perfectly. Wow. You can tell the reps have been put in.
Really nice, and he even makes sure to just tuck around the cylinder there, does not tap it. We'll see how the line is here. Let's not forget, it was a little bit of a tricky area for him on both laps. This time, Epos looks good.
Yeah, Epos, he kind of threads
the
first one and the second one together and puts it right on that ice slide through. This time it will have a pretty commanding lead as we see the players go side on for this ice slide once again into the reactor boost to turn left into this final jump. Now, take a deep breath, everybody. Epos in the lead, Lingo just in behind him, looking for more points here, and Lingo tries to push it, and it will cost him to the back of the pack. You go, Lingo, as Epos will jump into first place, take those 10 points away, and that's a world record time for him as well.
Robbery as well there. Lingo, it's the second time. Like we said, we knew Lingo was going to have to push. He needs to find the pace on different maps, and twice now it's cost him as he's really trying to send it. It's a comfortable third right now, but look at just trailing by such a huge margin. It's 105 for Otak, 103 for Epos, 74 here for Lingo, and Chemko down at 47.
What an opportunity that might have been. And now you look at the top of the leaderboards, Otak and Epos only separated by 2 points. As finalist mode, the shadow starts to cast its way across these drivers. First jump as we go through the
welcome,
logo. Everybody lands it into the bobsleigh. It's Otak and Lingo out at the front of the pack. And Otak this time is probably thinking ahead to that final jump again, thinking if I stick this one, but the speed from Lingo out the exit here might put him under a bit of pressure.
Really nice timing, as you said, just crossing that at a really nice threshold and really pushing it here against Otak. Might catch a good line.
Really pushes it over that pit. And now goes into a momentary lead. Now Otak might have a little bit of speed on the exit and does to take away the first place. But how's the landing going to be here? Otak just about holding on. It's wheel to wheel. It's Otak who holds on
by 5.
What felt like a feather, an eyelash on the line.
Unbelievable. 5 thousandths, I believe, was the difference maker there, and we'll see the exact time in just a second to see exactly how that came in. By the way, we should mention, of course, it was Lingo and Epos both setting world records on the map as well during those runs, but as you said, Otak somehow able to hold on just for a second, and Lingo continues to push. And even though he might trail by quite a margin in third, he's certainly putting on a show.
Yeah, he's certainly put the pressure on the two at the top. Every single race he's there or thereabouts, and really is making everybody make sure that their lines and their execution in these final moments of these races has to be on point. Make a mistake and Lingo's going to be there.
Absolutely. Now as we get ready for another special place full of obstacles, this one, of course, going to be Poland, as we saw in the map order, and a map we also saw in the first section. And Mark, I think the best thing that we saw on the first set of races on Poland was just how much everyone is pushing it on the final identity, just how much the car is rocking back and forth. How much speed can you take into those final identities?
Yeah, a couple of millimeters landing on the side of the tire or landing with the grip down is all that makes the difference on a few of these platform sections that we're seeing the players have to come through. Early on here, it's going to be Epos out to a lead as we see the players just riding that outside dirt line. Lingo! That's a little bit too close for comfort. Just kisses the barrier, but does not get it reciprocated.
And how fitting, of course, Otak and Epos still out in front here, out in front in the overall group as well. That win from Otak now has him leading by 8 points, and he will look to now extend it even further in this race through the dirt chicane.
It's been the story of Otak and Epos so far in this group stage game that we're seeing. First plank navigate as we jump onto the lily pads, just hovering above the water. Very important jump coming up here to maintain that gear, and you can hear the engines dipping down into the revs, but everybody's sticking it for now.
Yeah, right now, very similar lines, almost identical here as they come back. The car's almost rocking back and forth. In unison, it's Otak with a little bit of a tighter line.
Epos trying to cut that down, but it's just the identity that separates the two as Otak will come through for the 10 points. Lingo in behind on third. And that shadow is starting to get a little bit darker when we talk about finalist mode. Now Otak getting closer and closer to being the first player in the group to approach that mark.
Otak about 2/10 off of the Bren time that we saw laid down earlier today, but don't worry, lots of tournament records, lots of world records, of course, still to come all weekend long here. As you can expect, of course, a lot of new times coming in on not only the spring maps, but also the summer maps, especially Otak out in front once again.
It's Lingo again. I think you might have just tapped the outside line and falls to the back of the pack. That's going to be him out of early contention here, as in early contention once again. Surprise, surprise. It's the Brit and the Frenchman who are going wheel to wheel. Lovely bit of speed though coming through. Epos into the dirt section now. See him slide out to the left, dip back, in for the first jump. Now, does anyone want to get aggressive here? It's a very similar line from both. Everybody just trying to come through this first jump pretty consistently.
Really clean here. You'll go right into fourth gear right before the lily pads, and you need to maintain it not only around this tricky corner, but also into this section and through this first jump. It's Epos with a little bit of a lead here.
But Otak, this is where he made up time last time on the identity. Manages to get a little bit more speed off of that first platform, but this time, Epos is leaving him in the dust. You can't even read the number plate. He's that far ahead. It's Epos who's going to be taking home 10 points here and puts the pressure back onto Otak. In behind, we can see Chemko trying to close in on Lingo, but Lingo will take home third place once again. Chemko comes at the back of the field, but does not finish.
Gosh.
Comes out of that one empty-handed, not even the 3 points to make himself feel a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a little bit of a heartbreaker there. But as you said, if you're a neutral fan and you're not necessarily rooting for Otak or Epos in this one, you're happy to see Epos with even more points on the board. He's keeping it close, as we said now. 123, he trails to Otak's 131, 9 points away from finalist mode here. A win here, of course, would do it.
Otak looking for the win, Epos looking to deny. And it's Epos who's out to an early lead here. It's actually Otak who's at the back of the pack. Maybe he's feeling that pressure a little bit early on here in the first section of Poland. Now we jump back onto the dirt. Epos with a commanding lead, but Lingo this time is in and around. Once again, just hovering in behind. Goes a little bit wider than most on that and actually sends it off of that platform. That's going to be Lingo at the back of the pack, and that's a free run now for Epos at the front.
Yeah, it really should be. Otak as well. You could see maybe not the most stable through those jumps either. This really should be Epos's run as long as he closes this one out, and he's got a really comfortable gap over Chemko as well.
Chemko looking to secure second place. Otak is going to be looking to maximize his points. A final second place here with a mistake from Chemko would make Epos feel the pressure a little bit more. He almost manages to snipe him on the line, but it's going to be Epos who comes out with 10 points here. And most importantly, denies Otak from hitting finalist.
Look at this leaderboard. Look at this leaderboard. Otak takes the lead at 135 over 133. Otak needed the win there to be solo finalist. Instead, it will now be Epos just only 2 points away at 133. And obviously both of them here looking for more than a +4. Both of them want that +6. For Otak, it would mean finalist mode. Epos wants the win.
And let me tell you, when you can feel the nerves in the caster booth, you can only imagine what it's like for the players on the stage right now. Otak out to the lead, where you want to be early on if you're trying to put pressure onto your opponents. Epos, though, looking to close that gap, goes a little bit tighter on the inside line, and look at the speed going into the dirt now from Epos. Separates himself into second from third and fourth. Otak goes to the stick of the jump, he gets side on, he's not going to be able to stick, and Otak rolls off to the side and waves Epos into the lead. Lingo and Chemko in behind, but a mistake that is going to haunt Otak.
But one thing that you don't want in this scenario, the one thing you don't want, now Epos here, of course, wants to be able to close this one out. If he does, he will be on finalist, and of course, Otak may not even be on finalist after this one. He won't be.
Epos will get through. He will take home the 10 points. He is the first player on the main stage here to hit finalist, and for Otak, it is a heartbreaking moment. However, still gets those 3 points on the board, still keeps it interesting. But Epos now has a free run as the only player on finalist
thank you Usman bro, thank you यार, लग गई हो गया Usman जब ओ उधर मारी है ले साहब ला मैं क्या मैंने मारी है वाह जियो इधर बैग उधर चुमियां मारने आ लिया क्या बात तेरी जियो Usman एक ही गल हुई मारनी तो उधर बैग ही मार ला पाए ने इधरों बैग लाजमी मारनी है कैसी मखलूक ही यार मैं किधर मैंने मार छड़ी तो शर्म नु हाथ मारो यार
Otak looking to not only get finalists but also
got it on his shoulders right now. Now let's keep in mind for Otak there is a considerable gap between Lingo, Chemko and him when it comes to the points tally. So even if Epos does manage to qualify, Otak does have a cushion to hit finalist mode and look to close out. I think if you're in the mind of Otak right now, that's where your head's got to be. It's not about
वो ना बंदा वो जो उधर बैग ही मार ला तो इधर आ गया वो मार
it's about controlling the controllables.
And here he is, fifth gear all the way through, going to bring big speed, 360 plus here into the dirt. And let's not forget, less than an hour ago was Otak setting that world record that you see on screen. Can he do it again?
Well, Otak's out to an early lead here. But it's a pretty clean run from everyone at this point, and that's just going to increase the pressure on every single driver. Look at the speed coming in from Chemkov as well. Out of nowhere, all of a sudden, he looks like he's in contention for a win here. Epos just in behind him. And Epos now pushing. We know this final section, though, has belonged to Epos. From this turnaround, he has taken the lead. This is where he's made up so much time. And when you're on finalist mode, this is where you want to be.
Who cuts the closer line here? Let's see if Epos can do it again. Otak with a very, very good line here, but Epos out in just a bit. And Chemko also neck and neck with him as well. Here comes Otak.
Oh, look at Epos, though, just slingshots himself into a lead here. A mistake is all that is going to cost Epos. He goes very wide. It opens the door for Otak. And Otak will come through in first. A right smile comes in from Epos. He had it in his hands, in his grasp. But he cannot convert this time around.
You could not ask for a better story here. Double finalist mode coming in with Otak and Epos, and it comes down to, unbelievably, Epos goes just a tiny bit wide because he was a tiny bit left going into the final reactor zoom. Unbelievable, he had to correct. It cost him a really, really wide bit of airtime. And now double finalist mode between Epos and Otak. Who can do it here?
Who's going to close out first? Well, it's certainly not going to be Lingo. He just disappeared as he collides with a barrier. Maybe Chemko could play upset here. Maybe he could close the gap a little bit, but for Otak, most importantly for him, he leads the way over Epos. He's waiting to see if Chemko makes a mistake or if he can make this time up. To the grass, and he knows as we go into this final section that this is where Epos turns good. This is where the gold is found for Epos, and he is closing that gap once again.
And you can tell Otak knew how important it was to hit his line early on, and he saw it all the way through. He's going to do the same here. He will have a sizable lead, but can he hold it?
Here comes Epos into the first turnaround. Otak has a lead. The Zoops, though, from Epos might not be enough as Otak is holding on for dear life. It's a race to the line. Otak will hold on. Otak will take it, and Otak will be the first qualifier here. But boy, was it close in that final run.
Unbelievable, trailing what feels like not that long ago, if you think especially back into just that one lap of South Korea. Unbelievably done there from Otak to hold on, and like we said, it needed to be perfect. Epos was going to have not only a great identity, but a great setup into the identity as well. Otak, the hometown crowd, very happy to see, will be your first to qualify from this group. But now it's up to Epos. He's on finalist mode with an enormous cushion. How long will it take for him to close it out?
I mean, there's two things to love from that previous round. When you're talking about the mentality and what goes into being a great player here in Trackmania, one is pushing your opponent right to the limit. Epos did that. The time he made up in that last section, phenomenal. But Otak held his nerve. And that is going to be something that separates a lot of players when we get to final standings at the end of this tournament. For Epos now, it's about making sure that he closes out as the second qualifier. At the moment, he's looking at the back of Chemko, and he's going to have to overtake him if he wants to be the second player to go through here.
Just how clean can Chemko be, He knows that Epos is going to be at his heels here. The line looks good, but he's got three big turns coming up that he needs to nail. Epos trying to end it here.
Tight line from Epos. Really pushing it onto Chemko here. And as we go for the final turnaround, it's Epos and Chemko, but Chemko will deny, and Epos will have to wait.
Oh, and the question is how long? Look at the points leaderboard here with only 101 on the board. Now, of course, it'll be 111. There's a whole lot of racing left for Lingo and Chemko if they want to pull off what would, of course, be a miracle set of denies.
While all of this is happening, Otak is relaxed, leaning back in his chair, waiting to see who will join him as a qualifier. But Epos is out to an early lead here as we head into the first slide through the ice into the reactor. Epos holds the line, and Epos will have a pretty commanding lead going into this turn into the left, back onto the tarmac. And with a lead going into this section of the map, Epos will know the speed that he's had in comparison to the rest of the pack, how good he could be, and he could close out right here.
Yeah, just needs to close it out here, and of course, not only with the talent that he's got, but the points math as well. Knows that if he just runs clean races from here on out, and especially a clean finish, that he, of course, can end it here and now.
Chemko trying to push it. The inside line and the speed is going to be good for Epos to hold that first place, though. Epos is going to hit the first turnaround clean. Chemko is trying to do everything to push the Brit to the line, though. But it's Epos who is clean, and it's Epos who will qualify, and he will come through as the second qualifier here in the group. Otak and Epos will progress into the winner's side. For Chemco and Lingo, it's down to that loser's bracket.
And of course, your two favorites from the group, but not necessarily in this order, of course. Otak pleasing the hometown crowd, taking not only that first advance, but also doing so in a down-to-the-wire moment into the identity up against Epos. But in the end, as we say, Epos will comfortably advance in the second slot as well.
Yeah, well-deserved sip of water for both players, both Otak and Epos, who come through the pressure that was put on by Chemco and Lingo, especially in some of those tight moments across the series. But it is the 4th seed and the 13th seed who come out and will continue in the winner's side of the bracket. Remember, Chemco and Lingo, the tournament not done for them. They'll just fall down to that elimination side. As we see an exchange, I think, of nice job making it through, coming in from both Epos, and Otak.
Of course, an all-Team Liquid win here for both players, and Team Liquid could be very happy with that result. And as they talked about in the desk, of course, there will be a bunch of training overlap between a lot of drivers when they share not only friendship, but also teammates. Of course, just a lot of nuance known about each of these maps, and it showed in the end. Clearly a tier above the rest when it came to these races, but God, was it ever fun watching the back and forth, not only between Epos and Otak. We should mention that Chemco and Lingo certainly had their moments as well.
And I want to give a shout out to anyone who's watching Trackmania for the first time here. You're starting to learn very, very quickly what is separating these players. It is hundredths of a second, it is thousandths of a second, it is pressure in final corners, final turnarounds, whatever it may be, that is deciding who is going to qualify. And this is only day one of the tournament. You can expect a lot more of this. Some of these heartbreaking moments. I will say Canada, for me, it's the anticipation, knowing that you are headed straight towards that post and knowing that you have undone so much good work that breaks my heart, let alone the players that we've got on the stage.
Speaking of, look at that moment there as Otak even had to watch Epos just wrap around that final jump on Norway as well, and just a great set. And as we had mentioned earlier as well, a few not only tournament records, but world records coming in as we continue to populate the summer leaderboards as well with world record times. And another absolutely great set. And I think if there's one thing we know about Trackmania here at the Esports World Cup, it is that nothing will be guaranteed. I mean, this game is going to give us moment after moment of history here to add to this already great scene. It was another great set of races here in round number 2.
An incredible set of races. Epos, the second qualifier, but the man who came out on top, his name is Otak, and we've got him on the main stage right now with Milos. Let's hear from the Frenchman.
Incredible matchup. We just witnessed a tight game on all 4 sides. And I'm here with Team Liquid's Otak to have a quick chat. I mean, Otak, congratulations. To say that it was down on the wire is very much an understatement. But all 3, Poland, Norway, and into South Korea, how did you bring this one back? Bien sûr, c'était hyper close durant toute la journée, toute cette game-là, que ce soit sur Norvège, sur Corée du Sud. Comment tu l'as repris, cette game?
Honnêtement, j'ai juste essayé d'être dans ma bulle, de prendre les cris du public aussi, vu que j'ai tous mes amis là. Et ouais, juste essayer de jouer mon jeu. Je sais que voilà, c'est le premier match de la compétition pour nous 4, donc forcément il va y avoir beaucoup d'erreurs. Et j'ai essayé de capitaliser sur ça plutôt. Mais ouais, et au final ça marche, donc je suis très content.
Pas de capitulation, juste de la capitalisation. Ouais, very good. Then I tried to stay this entire time in my own bubble, focus on my own gameplay, get this game across the line, and also take in the energy from the crowd that's cheering for me throughout this game and try to capitalize on as much as possible. But you were doing this against your own teammate from Team Liquid, Epos. Did that play extra pressure into your mind? Now, bien sûr, tu jouais contre Epos, ton propre coéquipier sur Team Liquid. Est-ce que ça a rajouté de la pression sur toi?
Non, au contraire, je pense que même au contraire, ça a enlevé de la pression parce que je sais à quel point il s'est entraîné et je sais comment je me suis entraîné aussi, donc au final j'aurais été content pour lui. Après c'est sûr que si on parle vraiment en pure technique, moi je suis content et surtout que le deuxième match sera plus dur pour lui que pour moi, en tout cas selon mes prédictions. Mais ouais, non, pas du tout, ça va.
Well, if anything, this was a tight matchup regardless. Yes, he's my teammate, but it actually does not increase the pressure whatsoever. I'm happy for him. I know how much time he put in to practice, especially with me as well. So it was natural that at some point I want to win. It's going to be an easier time maybe for me later, maybe more difficult for him, but I'm just happy that I was able to make it across the line in that sense. Now, you've been to quite a few tournaments in your career so far. How has the EWC been treating you so far? Bien sûr, ça fait plusieurs années que tu pars en tournoi, tu pars en LAN. Comment est-ce que tu trouves l'ambiance ici à
l'EWC? Je trouve ça vraiment fou, on est vraiment bien accueillis, super bien accueillis même. Le fait qu'on soit dans une atmosphère où tous les joueurs de tous les jeux soient ensemble, en fait, c'est assez impressionnant pour nous qui sommes quand même un petit jeu, mais ça fait super plaisir et voilà, on essaie de profiter de tout ça.
It's been very generous, very great for us to be here. We're from a relatively small game, but seeing all these players from different esports all combined in one space, being treated so well, it definitely makes us feel very proud to be part of this ecosystem. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. Attack one more time! What a matchup down to the wire. Still more to go. A bit of 6-7 to make it all happen. Back to our desk.
Ledoux of Team Liquid take the win. The classic double here in Trackmania. Epos and Otak finally get the job done, although it was anything but certain. Those two down to the wire, training partners, and now moving forward. But it wasn't without effort from Shimko and Lingo as well on Norway. They kind of threw a spanner in the works and still ended up being Otak. And we started this conversation out, Kai, about Otak's redemption and his ability to bounce back to where he was at the epitome of Trackmania and make it there. Well, this is a great start.
Yeah, it's definitely a great start. He takes top of the group or top of this match and then has an easier match afterwards because he will only play against one top seed in the match coming up afterwards. And I think that's already a very good start for him. And I mean, Epos, a lot of people claim him to be the favorite, but he only got second place.
And that favorite, you know, it wasn't without merit. He obviously played really well. You thought South Korea was how he was going to finish it off. I mean, his times were incredible across the board, but Otak just kind of turned it on at the right time.
Yeah, of course, and we saw that the struggle from Epos towards that final as well, where Otak was able to take advantage of that. He's a good closer. I think he is well known as somebody who's able to close out when he's in that position. Unfortunately for the side of Epos, on the other hand though, he was not. And I mean, stats for Epos, he was holding the fastest top times on all maps. Goes to show, pace isn't everything. Consistency.
Yeah.
It's going to be the themes like we've been talking about. It's going to be one of those things where, yes, you can get to the finalists as fast as you want, but it is all about getting that first place at the end and not getting too much nerves going on, too much here and there in your mind. You have to focus.
It was Epos on finalist mode first, and then it was 2 or 3 at least rounds that he did not take a first place, and that allowed Otak to move forward, grab it. Lingo even had a moment. Shimko had his round that he won there, and the RRQ fans got going. But I mean, as we look at this, there were so many different elements of how they approached it. Shimko going to want a little bit more out of his trials next time he plays. Lingo happy with what he did on Norway. He definitely had a couple of those jumps go in his favor and set things up. But as we kind of look towards what the main theme was, it was Otak getting back to the pinnacle of the scene. It was Epos showing his consistency, but maybe losing out in some of those moments. And I know that we're going to talk about this a little bit more in depth. Kai, you're ready for us? You're not. Okay, that's okay. That's fine. We'll take our time here as we come back. We got a little illustration when the time is right. You may not be able to hear me. Is that the case? All right, but we can still do that illustration so we can hear you and you can get us going.
Yeah, I mean, that will work out, that's for sure. So I have prepared some elements that I figured out during this match. And I think already a very important topic to talk about is South Korea at the start, because we can see Lingo, who only has claimed 6 points during that moment, having an exceptional lead. You can see it, he's very far ahead. And then take a look onto the ending from Epos, still being behind, but slingshotting out of that reactor zoop. And just look at this line. Look how much further he is to the left in comparison to Lingo. And with that, he travels less distance and ultimately overtakes him. As you can see here, he has just so much speed. And this really set the tone for the match. Epos didn't have a good start, but there you go. He got this one done. I mean, not a good start, 14 points. That's what we're talking about. But he denies important points for Lingo, who then also crashed after that quite a lot. Also here in this round, he just got outpaced, and you can see it here. Otak is very far ahead. It's a battle between Epos and Lingo, and then you can see maybe a bit of hesitation there from Lingo whilst he was landing. You can see he lifting off the accelerator, Epos being a bit faster, and ultimately Lingo doesn't have sufficient speed to stay in contention with Epos, and he's getting overtaken there, and again losing out on very, very important points. All right, and then I think this really is where Lingo was falling apart. The ending on Canada, we have seen Chemko crashing the round beforehand, and you can see here it is Lingo now crashing into the ending, and not only do we see him dropping down the line, but take a look onto the reaction. He is really regretting it, and one thing to talk about there is if
that
you
says
have
it all.
icy tires, you cannot adapt, you cannot react whilst being airborne, so it's kind of a done deal, and this identity is so hard to clear.
Great stuff, man. And what a great one as well. And jumping on the desk. I love the conversation. Canada, just heartbreaking when you see that line and you come out, you know, I might just be hitting the post as well. Let's take a look at the schedule coming up, because we've got more matches. That's just 2 out of 8, like I mentioned, coming up onto our stage. Group B returns with match B3, and this is Grenady. And bringing the wheel onto the desk. That's right. You've seen mouse and keyboard. You've seen controller. Now you're going to see wheel for the first time here on the Lenovo Legion Gauntlet. Soldier, Charles, Neil going to do their best to what many think would be P2 that's available there, but anything can happen. Epos was supposed to be P1. Otak took that from him here in Porte. So the impact of this means that we still don't know what's going to happen. We've seen new maps each and every group, so questions to be answered, but some fun times on Trackmania for sure.
Plenty of fun times, especially that next match that's going to be coming up. I do think Soldier's definitely going to have the upper hand. He is known as a very good player. He may have disappeared for several years from the Trackmania scene, but he is still at the top of his game. Clearly, he's here. So clearly there's some still skill and merit to his gameplay, and I think he'll definitely be in that second spot. But so many matches still to go, so many cool things. We've already gotten a couple close calls already, and seeing your reaction was really fun.
Yeah.
Just like you were so excited about that 5,000ths of a difference.
Come on.
It's going to get more. Woo! There's going to be so much more coming. That's going to be a lot more common as we get further throughout the day.
I love it. I cannot wait. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in just a moment. But in the meantime, Chris has an update on the Qiddiya City grid, standing by with Lauren, Glitter Explosion, and let us know what's going on over there. Guys?
I'm down in a new and improved Qiddiya City grid. I mean, it's got so much bigger. We had obviously the play and solar section that's just behind our cameraman, and it's just been turned into a whole new stage because Fortnite is in town. And I mean, it's been kicking off. We could hear the crowd from before. It's only just started today. How are things going? How's things looking for the club championship, Lauren?
So when we're talking about Fortnite and it comes to the club championship side of things, we are looking at 4 specific clubs. Aurora actually won the first game right out the gate, so that means Aurora Gaming is already doing well for themselves. Like you said, it's only groups, so let's still have to wait and see. But if we're talking heavy hitters, Falcons are a big favorite in Fortnite. AGAL are expected to do really well, and Vitality are here on top of Aurora Gaming winning that very first match. So I actually think that this could be a big one this week when it comes to trying to keep track of everything that's going to be happening on the leaderboard.
Yeah, Saturday is going to be a bit of a headache, I think, for us with everything kind of going down. CS finishing up on the Sunday, but everything else finishing on Saturday is going to make things super interesting. And that does seem to be the theme. AGL, Falcons, and Vitality kind of in the mix. And every single one of the stages this week, Lauren, we're back along to, as said, the much bigger Qiddiya City grid. I was walking through, I was like, man, what? How have they put this together in a week? But anyway, thank you very much, Lauren. Guys, back to you. Trackmania makes its Esports World Cup debut in 2026, bringing together the 32 best players in the world to compete in Paris for a share of the $500,000 prize pool and crucial club championship points during the final week of the biggest esports competition in the world. After the deciders, we head into the playoffs. In each playoff match, only the top 2 players advance, whilst the remaining competitors are eliminated until only 4 remain for the grand final.
For the grand final, the finalist mode requirement is 140 points. Once reached, only one more win is needed to claim the title as the first Trackmania champion at EWC.
From Canada to Argentina, all the way to Norway, Trackmania has already excited us here at the Lenovo Legion Gauntlet with 2 groups gone so far, 6 more to go. As we welcome you back to the desk, my name's Randy. Welcome. It's been a lot of fun. I can't wait to keep going. Group 3 has no shortage of superstars, and I'm talking, of course, about Grenati, a pioneer with the wheel, and I got to get my guys here, G-Geek, back in business alongside Lucker's Turbo to talk about it. Can you hear me now, Kai?
I do.
I feel like I'm in a commercial.
Hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, all right. This is still
I hear
working.
a pleasant voice.
I'm not moving farther away, so it should work up at this, at this point. Guys, I mean, Grenati coming in. This is a big one. I mean, he is, as many of you mentioned, you told me, a pioneer with the wheel.
Yeah, a fellow German coming from an older Trackmania game, picking up Stadium and then gradually improving. And he's just getting better and better and better. And same for EPOS. He's not really having a ceiling. He's just kept getting better. And the problem for Grenati is not a problem. It's a luxury problem to have, but he still is there to win his first big title.
Ah, wow. I mean, you could see the impact of what pressure will do representing BIG and trying to bring that consistency that he has been so excellent with to get to the top of the mountain, which is much easier said than done, G-Geek.
Indeed, and he's going to have some tough opponents, including this man right here on screen, Soldier, one of the returnees to the field, a Trackmania Grand League champion in 2023, former teammate of Mudda, which we'll see at the end of the day, and one of those against whom Grenati fell short. But also, this is one for the NCSA gang right there, Neil from Seoul Esports, competing in his first ever World Cup as well. This is a moment of reckoning for NCSA, really, compared to a more Eurocentric sort of stage. And then Charles from Colombia, repping South America as well.
How do we feel about this matchup again? You know, we've seen 2 top dogs. We've yet to see kind of the 2 top players that are consistently top upset. We saw Nako and Neon earlier on, but that was more of like a clear 1 and then a 2-3, and we're not sure how that's going to play. Do you anticipate that there's a big 2 here, Kai, or is it still a big 1 and then everyone else is fighting for that second spot?
I think we're going to have a clear gap in this match. If I had to predict something, Grenati is just one of the most hardworking content creators who are out there. He's still regularly streaming on Twitch and also just making sure that he's able to upload content and practicing the maps that take a lot of time. And I do think he will top this match, that's for sure. And Soldier had shown a great performance during the Elite Cup, has qualified towards it on an amazing victory on a map that we have already seen, Canada, where he has been winning it all and booking his ticket for the Esports World Cup. But it will be hard for the others to beat those 2.
A lot of high praise for the Belgian player, as well as when you look at Neil, the impact representing SAUL, a major organization here at the Esports World Cup, and also trying to become potentially a favorite here at Trackmania. But he's got a lot to do and a lot of players to go through. Rachel had a chance to sit down and talk with him about his expectations heading into the match.
Righty, Neil is in the hot seat with me now. Neil, before we get into the here and now, what should people know about you as a person and as a player?
Okay, first of all, name is Neil. It's my in-game name and my real name as well. I couldn't be unique. As a person, I am an accountant at home, and I like to play tennis. That's one of my hobbies. And obviously Trackmania has been something that has become like a very big hobby of mine, and now like as a job now too. So it's very exciting. And yeah.
How does accounting link into Trackmania? Does it at all?
Not at all. I can count the checkpoints really quickly. Like, oh, this adds up to this. Usually I'm wrong, but it's okay. They always question me, are you an accountant really? I'm like, no, Excel does a job for
I'm a pretend one. In terms of this season,
didn't
go that well at the beginning of the season. How are you managing to change this around coming into EWC?
Yeah, I think beginning of the season, the format was very different. It wasn't something that I expected to be like that. And once the format was in my way, like the qualifiers, how I qualified to EWC was the same format we'll play today and so on for the rest of the week. So I think that really helped, knowing that there was something made for me, like the format. So I'm hoping that can be my strong point for the matches going forward as well.
Tell me about your group. Who are you kind of looking out for in there as going to be maybe a tricky opponent?
Yeah, I think, so I'm playing against Grenady, Sojo, and Charles is my first match. I think Grenady will naturally take the win. I think he's one of the strongest contenders for the win. I think the fight then starts between me, Sojo, and Charles. Soja is coming out of retirement. He hasn't played for many years. So I'm hoping I have a little bit of a mental edge on him, you know, the stage fright. Charles I've known for many years. I've competed with him, trained with him, against him for like 4 years now. So I hope it's just two friends on stage battling it out. And I think these are the two players I'd look out for, that maybe I can have an edge on, or maybe I can have that mental battle to win against them, you know?
Neil, I'm going to say one thing. You have to leave the friendships behind. Don't take them on stage, otherwise you're not going to get through to the final. Neil, good luck. Thanks for chatting.
Thank you so much.
But he seems so friendly, Rachel. He seems so friendly as well. And an accountant, talk about consistency. Maybe not speed, because, you know, it is, at least in the U.S., edging towards that, like, tax season extension deadline. October's always crazy. I can't get a hold of my accountant. But at the end of the day, hopefully you'll be able to see Neil in action in his main job, which I love to hear. Guys, heading into this as well, and those of you watching at home, I want to hear who you think is going to take the win. He says it's going to be Grenady, but if your pick'em says maybe Neil, you're feeling confident he'll take that P2, maybe he'll take P1. Who knows? Let us know. Get your pick'ems in right now for our match that's about to happen on stage. What do you think about his assessment? Because he clearly said Grenady #1, and he talked about his matchup for second place between the remaining three. How do you feel about that, Kai?
So considering sympathy, I think he takes #1 spot here. But beating Soldier, I mean, he really is just stressing how much of a break he had.
Yeah.
But it didn't really affect him when we saw him playing the Elites Cup. He has been performing amazingly there. And I think Neil definitely is up there, that is for sure. But I don't think it will be enough.
I'm on board with what Kai said here. I'm thinking it's going to be a bit more of a clear-cut gap between the top two and the bottom two, a rift in the points, as I like to call it from time to time. Because Solja, yes, he may have been 2 years out, but he's certainly lost none of his flair for the dramatic and flair for speed, as proven in the Elite Cup in Canada, in a very different format, which is more axed on survival. Here on Cup mode, it's also a game mode which he has a lot of experience with and can really have some flashes of brilliance. So I'm expecting him to shine through and move up to second place and make it through to the next phase of the winner bracket.
Stories here from these players, obviously intertwining. So many favorites coming into one group, and then now you see sometimes the clear separation. But it's EWC, it's Trackmania, it's the biggest prize pool we've ever had. So can we expect the unexpected? I would certainly think so, G-Geek. What are the chances? How does somebody like Neil find their way into advancing into the next round?
Drive your own race, be on the prowl for mistakes, let the race come to you, let the others make the mistakes, make the others push 110%, and then the extra points will come to you.
Take round after round. Don't think about your mistakes. Try to find the reset button just when the light flicks off green.
Every corner, every 10th matters here in Trackmania. And what you've noticed in Paris is that the fans, alongside the players, are ready for the challenge. $130,000 on Saturday will be awarded to the fastest player. But to get there, they've got to make it through their groups. Let's kick off group number 3 here and bring you to the stage.
Bada bing, bada boom. What an incredible second race that was. Amazing series there. I mean, the boys from Team Liquid Alienware ducking, diving, weaving their way, slipstreaming all the way through to that upper bracket and looking very, very menacing indeed. I got to say though, EPOS and the beatboxing, I have nothing like that in my locker. I've got no skills at all. I can flare my nostrils quite large.
You're very good.
That's literally it. That's all I've got. That's my gift.
Take what God's given you, my friend, and it's an excellent skill. I'm sure of it. It's gonna be used somewhere, right? But as you mentioned, Team Liquid earlier, I mean, they looked insane, right? Otak, Epos really putting in their all, 3 maps in a row, tight on it. But that was only game 2. Yeah. We gotta move on to the next.
So much more to look forward to. 2 down, 6 more to go. Let's meet the next 4 players ready to rock it here on the main stage. First up, please welcome Grenade! The German giant and OG wheelman qualified through DreamHack Birmingham with aplomb. Now the grid here in Paris will test his nerve.
Next up on stage is Charles. Representing Titan Esports Club, Charles is one of the top drivers from the NCSA in South America region. His international experience might be the push he needs to get across the line.
Paris, please welcome to the stage, Neil! One of the best from NCSA. A tough start to the year means he'll be hungry to make this mark on this competition.
Last but not least, it's Soldier! Hiatus means nothing to a driver of his talents, now playing in his 3rd World Cup. He might be here as a free agent, but he's sure to make a big, big splash. That's all 4 players set up for this 1v1v1v1. Please, gentlemen, take your seats, place your keys, go ahead for it. Because, my God, if the first 2 games really gave us a taste of things to come, I think this one's going to go down to the wire as well. With players being set and ready for this matchup, let's get into it on Game 3 of our main stage.
Well, Grenade bringing out the experience, but not only that, on a mission different from these players, on a mission to finally reach the top of the mountain. He's shown the consistency. Soldier on the other side, showing that even despite the break, has what it takes to be that clear second favorite. It's a battle between Neil and Charles, really, in most people's minds, Kai, to see what they can do to turn expectations around into their favor. And it now starts with the map soon that'll be displayed. What's your takeaway from what we've seen so far, map-wise? Has there been something that's given players trouble? Has there been something you would avoid looking at how they've performed on it?
Oh, I mean, there is definitely Norway that I've seen a very, very good line that we've seen there from Epos, just gaining so much speed. And if you're hesitating with your release timing as well as on other maps, well, you just lose so much time in comparison to players who are just ready. And I think for Charles and also Neil, it is just very important to just play your A game, prove yourself that you're worth playing against the best out of the best.
G-Geek Grenade with Japan in the first pick.
Japan in the first pick, and South Korea as his ban as well, and Norway popping up as a map ban. Same for Argentina and for Australia. We've seen that, of course, over the course of the first 2 games. Norway popping up as one that people want to avoid the most, really, to play because it's such a hard map. Soldier picking up Canada for map 2. This is going to be interesting. The site of very successful outings.
Yeah, I mean, Soldier has won the Elite Cup on Canada and now picking up this map again. Then we see pick number 3 being Hungary.
Trackmania for the first time. Each map tells a bit of a different story on how to succeed. Different struggles, different moments that are more pivotal than others. And I think when you look at it, Japan, again, the conversation piece, we've seen it in the first round. We didn't see in the second. We thought it would be banned all the way through. Now we're seeing it 2 out of 3 groups. This is going to be important, and the fact that that man right there is the one who picked it should tell you something.
Let's see who will be big in Japan tonight. I mean, it could be Grenade. It's his pick. It hasn't been banned, and we will see this map twice.
It's going to be an exciting one, guys. All right, all the talk set up for this one. It's time to see who will take first place here as we send it back over to our casters to begin our 3rd group of the day.
Thank you so much, Rain. Thank you so much, gentlemen. It is time to get into our 3rd match of the day as we now jump over to have our first look at Group B. We've heard the stories of the players here, and the overarching story of this matchup, Andy, seems to be Grenade plus who is going to be those qualifiers?
That really is the question right now. As you just heard, I think the desk set it up perfectly. Soldier certainly making a very strong case that it might just be him. Let's not forget, not only his past expertise, what he's been able to do in his career, also, as we said, the pace that he has right now, but it's also the Elite Cup wins. I want to talk about what Turbo just talked about as well. Canada is in the rotation. Soldier able to get first place. Not just a good performance on Canada, let's not forget, especially with the format of the Elite Cup. A win there is certainly a statement as we get ready for Japan, but the one thing I also want to point out is that Hungary win in the Elite Cup for Grenady. I believe there was a Neil pick, and Grenady will be ready for that map as well.
Well, expect some very, very quick times from the players. Seeing those kind of results in the Elite Cups in the build up to the EWC finals here in Paris. And early on, surprise, surprise, it's the man that everyone is expecting to be leading from the front when it comes to points and times. That's going to be Grenady, who gets out to an early lead after the first backflip.
As you can see, not always a perfect single flip there for these drivers. A tiny bit of RNG in talking to the drivers about what happens there. Sometimes it's a double flip, and you just got to roll with it. Grenady here out to an early lead as we hit the grass.
Yes, Charles, who's in behind him about 0.3 of a second, just chasing down. You can see a lot of speed coming in from Soldier. They're trying to close that gap a little bit onto Charles, who's holding down that second place. Early drift out from here. Charles trying to chase down Grenady, but Grenady already looking extremely comfortable here, Andy, and it just feels like that gap is just opening up every time you're looking at the POV of Charles.
Yeah, look at this all the way through the no-break, about to be a no-break fragile for just a second, and Grenady presumably going to take these as tight as he needs to. Yes, the lines from this POV, they certainly look good. He will still be leading into the final set of gates here, engine off.
Yeah, the gates will separate a lot of players. A Soldier, a little bit more speed as he goes through these gates, and actually closing the gap on Grenady a little bit here. Takes away second place and will finish in second place from 4 points to 6 points, an extra 2 for him. It'll be Neil at the back of the pack, who's going to close things out here with 3 points to his name.
Yeah, make sure to still close in time. And I have to say, off the first rip here, it looks like everything kind of neatly in the place that you might expect. It's Grenady with the +10. Soldier comfortably in second there, +6 points on the board as we settle into the second race of this group.
First tight left-hander, blind for some drivers. Now the pedal will go down. Slight break before you hit the wall here into that backflip. Single flips for everyone this time around. We don't get to see the balletics from some of the gymnasts, as Grenady will continue what we saw in that first round here in the second run. Already establishing a pretty comfortable lead. It was 0.3 of a second last time, and it's actually Charles who's closing in on him here, really pushing the pace into the turnaround here, into the first set of gates.
Yeah, Grenady with a little tap on the left side, uncharacteristic and not what you'd expect to see, especially in that section. But instead, it's going to be, as they drop down to third for just a second, regain fourth around this next right-hander. It's going to be Charles out in front.
Grenady into second place. Behind him is going to be Soldier and Neil. They're over a second behind through that last checkpoint, so quite a gap opening between our first and second place drivers as we go through the fragile section into these final gates. Engine goes off, boost will take you through. Charles and Grenady, who's going to be risking it here? Who's going to be trying to hold on? Grenady with a little bit more speed, but Charles with a clear exit. And oh no! It was clear until the final moment, and then the mistake is made. And Soldier will clearly and gladly take away the 6 points. Charles falls to the back of the pack, and that is a tough pill to swallow.
Oh, a tough pill indeed. And from the back, we're thinking Grenady probably this early on. Grenady's probably just going for a clean line in the end. He doesn't need to push that at all. That's what he does. And as we said, it's instead Charles who devastatingly cannot hold on to the lead. And honestly, you expect the failure to happen right before all those gates, not certainly at the very last moment ahead of the finish. In the end, it will be Grenady as a result of that error. +10 back-to-back. He'll be on 20 points and in the lead yet again.
Charles in behind him, this time looking to put the pressure onto the German at the front of the pack. As everyone tries to maintain this speed here into the boost before this tight right-hand hairpin through the checkpoint, and now into the engine off, and everybody sliding through these gates and coming through pretty clean. Grenady actually lost a little bit of time there, but it just clipped the outside again.
A little bit of a touch there, as you say, but enough of a lead had given him enough padding, enough comfort room to now, as we get ready once again through this deep no break into the fragile. Grenady leading yet again. We'll see if he can close it out, but Charles trying to push it here, and it's a good line from Charles. He's going to try to keep this as tight as he can.
Trying to keep the pressure on Grenady. He knows you can make mistakes in this final gate section of the map. Grenady, he does make that mistake now. Can Charles take advantage of it? He does make it through this time, does not clip. Grenady will fall down to third place, having led for so long. And that is what you're going to see a lot of. I keep talking about it in this tournament. When you just feel like a result is starting to present itself, the final seconds and turns and moments in these tracks can separate the pack.
This is really what we came for here. It's to see who can hold on, hold down the consistency on land. And what a result for Charles. Let's not forget, before that win, he was on 4 points. He was at risk of dropping so deep in this pack. however, instead, as we get ready for the wall slam, he's instead going to be on 14 points, and he'll be right there with the rest of the package. Still Granati up by 10.
Still, who's just in behind Granati, who off the back of the back flip, which is a very difficult sentence to say, does have a very, very comfortable lead, almost 0.4 of a second between him and Neil, who are chasing with the rest of the pack. Charles and Soldier in behind, even further behind. Soldier's fallen right behind, almost a second behind the pack as we go into the turnaround before the first section of the gates, as the engines switch off before switching back on. This tight, sweeping left-hander through the chicane as we approach this right-hander with Granati with a comfortable lead still.
Yeah, comfortable lead, and let's not forget, he did tap there just a few laps ago, so instead going to have a very nice, clean section into our no-break, and it's a big, big lead for Granati into our final part of the map.
Everyone gets a little bit fragile. And I'm talking in-game, not just outside of it, as we approach the final gate section here. Granati with a very, very comfortable lead. It would be a mistake that would see him fail to take 10 points away here. And having made one, he's going to be very happy to come through clean. Charles with a mistake again. Granati does make it through clean. That's going to be a PB for him. And 10 points, most importantly, on the board there for the German as he moves the gap a little bit. Starts to open up a little bit between him and the rest of the pack.
Yeah, exactly 34 points, I believe, for Granati at this stage. And worth noting there, everyone just a little bit behind Neon's earlier time. Neon was in the 114s. Everyone there staying in the 115s. In this set is what we're going to be able to see in this rendition of Japan. But of course, a lot more speed, a lot more pace, and more times still to come. Not just today, but all weekend long. As we said, Granati right now comfortable at 34. And to be honest, Charles is going to be very happy with that win that he did get, because that will keep him not only in third, but most importantly, only within 6 points away from second. Neil is the one who needs to do the work all the way down in 13 points now.
Yeah, 13 points is not great coming out of Japan, but as we change things over here and we start to get a little bit of a slippy and slidey mentality into our head, we see Canada in front of us, a little bit of ice and some slaloms, and also a lot of speed to be contended with here for our drivers.
Yeah, certainly one of our favorite matches to watch. As you just saw in that last set, the identity might look straightforward. Let's not forget it can have its surprises. Most importantly, when you are on the most important stage in Trackmania history, it can certainly claim some victims here. Full power down as they get ready for the reactor boost sausage block.
Granati and Neil coming through very, very clean. And look at the gap that they've managed to open up in first and second between the rest of the pack, looking very, very convincing into the chicane here. In behind them is going to be Neil. Look at Soldier, all of a sudden making up a little bit of time himself, putting the pressure onto the back bumper of Granati, jumping now into the dirt slalom. Neil trying to maintain his speed through here. And it's Soldier who actually wrestles that lead away from the section from Granati.
Soldier so good through the dirt there. Of course, some key no slides coming in as they're going to be able to have really good exits. Soldier's going to have a tiny bit of a wider line, but still out in front here. Here is your final turnaround.
Yeah, the battle for 10 points is going to be decided on this turnaround. Both players come through clean, but who has the most speed? Granati's going to slide out, and he's going to go through looking down the barrel and into the whites of Soldier's eyes. Turns that one around, but turns it into 10 points, most importantly. And Granati out to a very, very good start in here on our new map. Canada looking good for the German.
And let's not forget, that's a signature line from Granati. If you've peeped into his world record on the summer campaign version, of course, you have seen that from him. Loves to take that line, loves to come across sideways. But to be honest, even more style points if you ask me to end that thing in a 180. It's Granati out in front, 44 points on the board.
No better feeling than being in first place and looking at second place as you go across the finish line in front of them. It really does lay down a mental marker, shall we say, for the rest of the races that are coming up in front of us. It's Charles out to an early lead here, and it's going to be Neil actually who's in second place. A little bit of a mistake early on here from Granati. He's going to see him at the back of the pack.
Yeah, to be honest, these players are taking advantage of that. It's so important to come out of that section in the lead. We saw Granati making up so much time, as well as Soldier in the dirt. Soldier does it again. He's so good through the dirt. Can he push it against Charles here?
Yeah, been a real difference maker for Soldier when it comes to making up time.